The Sobering Podcast and Maglera Doe Boy do not endorse the use and/or selling of drugs, illegal firearm use, and violence. The views expressed in this episode are purely for documenting purpose and not aimed to encourage any illegal activities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Blimbow Chicken Shaman, Take him, a whole bunch of other AKAs. The Sobering Podcast, Season 7, Episode 2.
Episode 2.
Yeah.
And it's the second one with this dude.
And we aren't playing with y'all, man.
Not playing.
I'm saying we're not playing with y'all.
You see
man.
what's happening?
See what's happening now. I'm not playing with y'all. Yo, it's Big Fred, aka Remington Gold, because you don't really want to smoke.
Boy.
Oh, give me Babylon, Naginama. Maglera Doe Boy, fresh out of Maglera. It's nice to be back.
Let my man's cook.
Ooh, that was nice, yo. Kiki's off it. That was nice.
Yeah, I had to make sure he switched to courtly because now he doesn't want the Remington smoke. They don't really want it.
Shit,
they don't really want it.
How you boys doing?
Man, we good, man. But I gotta make sure that we give you your due as well, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, come on, dog. Fresh off a beautiful year, you know.
Yeah,
best male, you know, gave us verse of the year.
I mean, come on.
Come on, gave the ladies a new greeting to make sure they man feel special. Como está? You know what I mean? Come on, bro. Coming through with the black grill. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
Come on, come Fa. You know what I mean? I mean, like, yo, man, he doesn't have the Gucci on, but it's Burt. Huh? Come on, man. Looking like always on time Ja Rule.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Burberry print. Come on, baby. It's that culture, man.
What you know?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, cultural references. You gotta be there. You have to be there, yo.
You know, you have
Why
to
you
be
put him
there.
behind like that?
This is casual.
Oh,
Casual. Maneno le bala cover maro batlo bontsha go zabathile.
yes, man.
Totsa go nathi.
Yes, man. Yes.
I bua ka baba kwa America re tlalwana the whole time. Maybe ke thola mara re bua ka tsetsa ka yimi. Shabuzet man.
What's up, man?
Yeah. Bro, it's been a long time. It's been like this. It's 3 years, nah?
It's 3 years already.
It's 3 years, bro.
almost.
That's
Was
crazy.
it 2020?
It was 2020. It was just before lockdown.
Yeah, that's before pandemic.
Yeah, just
I
before
remember
pandemic.
because it's when I got that grill. The reason I even got this one is because crazy. When we were shooting that episode, I was like, I gotta look fly. So I got that upper grill. If you guys remember, it wasn't a full up and down. Also, the one that became iconic is the one that came after Windy View. It was like the open face. But I was like, nah, man, klo bona ntjatsa ka tlo lwana ka diaparo. Ing. Talking about bisa ka grilla le shala. Bonto.
Taba ke mashala.
Taba ke mashala.
A tsa ke mashala gona.
Yeah, man.
Lentja ka utile ka Steve Jobs ke mo kopile ne.
I mean,
Alala.
I mean,
We're about to tell them about the new Apple Watch.
come on.
Fumana. No, the design is the new Apple Watch. It's a very crazy time in the culture. I feel like we are in an era of people redesigning so many things.
Yeah.
I know there's an elephant in the room also in terms of South Africa right now that just happened. That's going to be crazy to speak about, but I think it's also one of those things that's going to say, yo, how are we redesigning it now? Because it's like, yo.
Man, I think we even need a moment of silence for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Take a
R.I.P.
5
Mega,
second,
please.
Rest in peace, Super Mega.
Long list.
Yeah, the interview was amazing. Your career was phenomenal.
man.
You got the Mega C custodian.
Yeah, man.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
It's a tough one.
We can't just breeze through it.
Yeah.
We celebrate you to this day, you know,
man.
and we're gonna make sure that Mass Country does the numbers, you know.
Triple platinum.
We go in there. Prayers out to the family. Love from the Sobering and Larry Glacier.
I love what Mukhato said, you know what I'm saying? He said, like, we should have been, like, RSVPing to a listening, you know, to a listening session and setting up the next interview.
Yeah. It's a tough one, man. I don't know. I think I was cool, but then I think everything just came back now.
Yeah,
and
man.
Yeah, okay, fucking, I'm Terry, but it's also because it was just me being a fan of him like that was also a big part of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, like, episode in, episode out, would always come back and argue Mercado versus Megasi.
Eish.
And, you know, and it's, I don't know. Yeah, niggas, I don't know, man.
I know.
I can't put in words now, but
Yeah.
so shout out to everybody who was telling niggas to check on me and shit. Like,
Yeah.
at first I didn't understand why, because I felt like there was his whole family to be checked on.
Yeah.
But then in hindsight, when I look at it, it's like, and I'm glad that he knew, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have not known for long, but
Yeah, but when he met you, he knew.
yeah, you know, he was able to know that,
It's real.
there's a nigga who wrote for him, you know.
There's a nigga from Limpopo.
Yeah, you know. So that's another thing, yeah. His first concert was in my hood for the year. His first gig was in my hood for the year. And it's one of those, like, fuck, I should have just stayed longer to catch it, but it's something that I've let go. But it's a painful one, man. Also, not to go into the whole thing of how it happened or whatever, but just the loss in on its own.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big one also, I won't lie. Like I think
It's yeah, man. And just being at the memorial with the energy, you get to see that as much as there were ups and downs. You know, a lot of people call Bovamania the down in his career, but but he had hits.
Yeah.
He kept us
Yep.
throughout, never switched up.
He had hits and moments.
Yep.
Moments like he when he came on, he made sure that he's gonna do this hip hop thing in the most South African way possible, according to him, and he did that.
Yep.
And yeah, man. Yeah.
South, it's a vibe now.
Larry, how does it make you feel as an
Yeah.
artist though? Like, you feel like there's a void.
I mean, from like if I'm looking at it from the outside,
Yeah.
like just a fan, it sucks, man.
Yeah.
That's mega. When I was in grade 9, him and Kulani came to Maglera and they shot I Want It All at a club owned by one of my good friends now, Dino Ndlovu, the soccer player. And it's an iconic club at home.
Yeah.
It was owned by Portuguese people and then a big homie, his name is Terry. So it's one of those clubs like around the times when the repertoires were popping off, Mega and Kuli were doing that thing, you know, Stay Fresh era. They came to Maglera and I wasn't allowed in the club
What was the
when they shot the video.
Head honcho. Yes.
Yes, head honcho times. And then fast forward to my link up with Kulani and just how much I was a fan of that era. Because if you guys know me as much as you guys know me now, personally, you know, also I'm a very big fan of cultural moments in South Africa. And they were a big deal, you know? The first person I got worried about when I heard the news, because I heard the news real time also. I was speaking to someone close circle who just heard and like, they were like, yo, man, this just happened. I was like, no ways. One told. And it feels like that. But more as an artist, it just also hurts because crazy from the Sobering podcast with Scoop and you guys, and it was a link, man. It was Sobering and
It was a
Podcast,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
that link up episode. Straight after that episode, Scoop drove to Mega's.
Yep.
And he played in Bodega.
He called me to say that. Yeah.
And Mega posted about me and told South Africans to check me out. And that was a big part of me popping off. You know, I won't lie, people did it before. Obviously, Cooley being close family and a part of the business, Cass did it also. But when Mega did it, he also just gave me that side of South Africa.
Yeah.
Did you feel me? So over the years, we'd speak about, yo, we're gonna rock. Even with Mass Country, I was just in Mozambique shooting. So even my verses that I had sent through for this thing, it's a bit rushed. So it was always, nah, don't trip. We'll see what we do after. And if you know how I am in terms of just my patience and design, I was so excited for when we do it. It's going to be so high end because he's also starting to understand me and my textures and whatnot. So it's a two-way, you know. I've been bumping DreamWorks since the weekend started.
And you're one of the lucky people who got to see him. I think there's a video of you guys just from weeks ago even at a restaurant.
Yeah. So beautiful. He walked into Rockets and like, it's one of the moments that made me feel like, yo, it might have taken you a minute to do it your way, but like, where it's the most important, which is where the culture is rooted, if it's being understood from there, it means that the last conversation we had when it was still people are saying, what is Maglera saying? If a mega can say, yo, I get it now. You know, he walked into that place and it was like, Harlem, baby. Yo, just send 4 shots there to Maglera. You know, that's the moment on camera. You feel me? The chat is real time. Also him saying, yo, I need to check out the album. You feel me? Because I need to understand what you want to do instead of us always saying, yo, do something like this.
Do something, come into our world.
He's actually one of the people who understood, like, yo, your textures. We spoke when he was in New York. We spoke, we were speaking about the records and the possibility of, yo, if we can do it in this time frame like this, let's do it in the album. If not, what are you doing next, you know? Because I see you're doing it now. Before, which is like 3 years ago, it's just before this first podcast we did, the chat was, when you're doing it, we'll chat. Because you know, also, he was a very honest guy, so... Yeah, as an artist, I think it's a bit like, yo, I intlisa swa kanja. Onto intlisa swa go remona. Na lentsaka khala go tlo ba khasa ka ulia a chamaremo. I think it will cost go rona re etse the way he would have, you know? I felt the same way with Ricky. Ontola.
It does it leaves a void, and I won't lie, I think there's a lot of pressure, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure.
That
baton is something to deal with.
I won't even hold you. Something you said before we started rolling camera when you were like, those lights when they get switched off in the stadium, to be able to switch one on like that again, that level of cultural reference, respect, South Africanness, palette, being honest, like saying, I want to make Above a Mania. So that I can go find myself sonically also. You know, I don't see that one as a down. Because if you're a true artist, you're not just existing in this commercial thing of I always need to make hits. Then why do we call 100%. Ourselves artists? Why don't we just call ourselves pop stars?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah. And I mean, Baba Mania, we can say what we want, but it still had energy.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was honest pops. Like some people, I'm not saying anyone is specific to what I'm saying, but we've seen the articles about artists saying, I wasn't me.
Yeah.
That guy, if you could say, if right now we could just answer out loud from wherever you at quickly, do you feel like you were yourself this whole time?
I mean, he even said it here, it wasn't the best of times.
Yeah.
He admitted that he might not be his best work, but it wasn't the best of times.
And that was honest.
So it's a reflection of the time as well.
Yeah, he was always honest.
Yeah,
and
man.
I love that with any artist, Pops. Like, I love our artists who didn't just live. Like, people love saying, like, this guy lived. Like, you know, he lived his truth. Anajola the way Anajola. Like, when people speak mega, you know, Anajola the way Anajola, Anakwata the way Akwata, and Itumela the way Itumela.
Yeah.
Wantola, which is also something that, like, I think being someone who didn't know him a lot until, like, the last moment in his life, a little bit, I finally saw hana itumeletse motho. Hana itumela motho jwang. Wantola, because hana mpona na ibetsa da mi ipa, na itsebile ya repa. Yo, long live Super Mega, live long. Even that pressure you're talking about, it's necessary. He left that on purpose for us. He never wanted us to dumb down.
Yeah. Never.
So if you're gonna wanna say, I'm inspired by an AKA palette-wise, that little thing of saying like high end has to be there.
Oh man.
That element of all those elements that made him the I don't want to say gatekeeper because that term has been twisted into it. The keeper of that baton he had.
The custodian of the baton.
Of what he had. Yeah, custodian.
Yeah.
But like,
I like what you're saying because like that comes with pressure.
Yep.
You know the pressure that he's gone through, dog. That guy's gone through pressure.
And the way he just like, I don't want to say brushed it off, but the way he was just able to move post everything.
Yeah.
To step in the booth and say, I'm mega.
The pressure, dog.
With all the turmoil
Everything,
surrounding
dog.
him, all of the dark cloud. But when he stepped in the booth or when that red light came on for a camera, it was time. And he understood that it was time.
Yabo!
Also, just such a cool guy, eh? Like, if we're talking like cool, anything that people can say like, okay, but I didn't enjoy this, or I had my thoughts on this.
I mean, that's
Pants might have been too tight, but that's cool.
When I say cool, I mean like, how does it always look so fly, Pops?
He always had the superstar aura.
Yo, plus malangeni akubetla bua maka bojwala bontse bo ntshwara ka di-washing nyana bo.
Wa direga.
Mona.
Wa direga.
Ke ntse thulana le wena.
Wa direga.
Mona ke na go I think you know what's strange. Ke birthday ya Frank. One tall.
Yeah.
Ke birthday ya Frank ke na le Kilo, Slicky, re tlo performa. So ha re tsebo re mauthi ba teng. Ha tsebe ke mang a reng he mona ene Frank o teng. Because Frank has always shown me love. Frank is one of the first people in terms of like...
Casino.
Yes, Frank Casino. In terms of the young niggas, Mojozi, when like Ricky's, can I say, org, which is my Frankie, Lenzo, who else can I say, SP, you know, that era of like, yo, Ricky's doing that thing of once he puts the verse on this thing, it's going off with the Cotton Eaters. One taller. I want to say the young people I saw around him, Frank is the first one to like really show me love, you know, sent me a verse, told Ricky about me, back in I feel like a Cotton Festival, yo, check for this guy. And this was the first time I saw rappers with grills outside of Mega, which was like on TV. One taller. I'm talking like, give your weekend, take your mon,
Live Jive.
Live jive. Just hook up guy for that. Yo, no tshwantse ke rap serious. Motho ba reka di-dance. I don't want to be too far from it. And in that time when Frank is showing love like that, he introduces me to everyone around there. This guy who was there, I forget who it was because I was late. They said, yo, Frank's here. I think it was Kuda. Kuda Cash.
Kuda Cash.
Or is it not Kuda Cash, man? Kuda, the editor.
He's the editor. Get Kuda Cash.
The one who edited Bodega. I just don't know his surname.
I don't know his surname, but we know his street name.
Kuda. Yeah, Kuda.
But you know, we know Kuda. You know,
I think it's Kuda. He says, Franco Tengara. So, I don't do this about Frank. Yo, whole family's there. Big Chief, Younger. You know, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I want to hlabile le zaza mare o timwe mona o superstar what all Clare Younger umplela ka dumedisa di hot man Younger always reminds me about being present what all and there's Mega superstar damanana na go re
all day
yamononka ke ndiding
1942
yo umphayo na so
yeah
ke ga ke moja hot man o mo
hit that
man
it's a so.
Yeah, you know 42, you don't put in the shot glass. You gotta hit it like that. Too expensive. Too expensive too.
In general, dog, if I'm gonna rap that one a little bit because it's one of those ones we can never stop talking about.
Yeah.
You know, it might slip into conversation today because
that's
what a loss. One tall.
Huge influence.
Shout out Super Mega in terms of what he did for a kid like me. I was in the Northwest when Victory Lab happened. You know, so I took him as a motswako lister. I was like,
yeah.
So he's a part of this thing. Now we Kuli let it happen organically.
Yeah.
He wasn't a part of it. He didn't say, please link up with my youngin.
Beautiful.
No. He said, you and Keenan are gonna vibe because you're dope and he's gonna mess with you because of your artistic integrity.
I remember that one moment at Younger's listening session, and then you came in the room, and I even said to him, yo, this is the best rapper in the country. You remember what he said? He said, I'm well aware. I
remember now when you're saying it.
He's like, yo. Yeah.
But you understand how big
I'm well aware.
You know how big of a statement that was coming from him? In that moment, I'm still taking in everyone reacting to Forte.
Yeah.
Like, yo, and Mega said this.
Yeah.
I don't want to overthink it.
Yeah.
I'm like, he also told me go crazy. So I'm still trying to go harder than the last time he saw me.
I remember the time he saw was like, yo.
But yo, thank you for reminding me of that. I won't lie. I forgot until now.
Yeah.
I respected him so much. I never wanted to have a big head around him.
Yeah.
I was always just listening.
A professional, man.
Yeah.
A professional.
Also, one other thing about him that I like, it's like also, just going back to the episode, he chose us. Like, there was never a point where we're like, when we got the call from CK, like, the text, like, yo, Mega wants to come on. It's like, it was surreal, like, almost unbelievable.
You know, we're fucked up. We are the ones.
You know?
No cap.
You know, Mega wants to come on.
Also. You know, I'll let you hold this one. But I'm going after episode.
You know, when they tell you like, yo, this nigga wants to come on your show, dog. We're like, all right, cool. I didn't believe it until we got there, and he got there.
You proud of them joints, yeah?
So up until that Sunday when he got there, and also just the way he was, who are you niggas? What do you do? Tell me about this thing, you know? Let's get some drinks and whatever.
Let's get some shots.
Let's get some shots. Can I just tell you a backstory to that while we're there? I'm sorry. Well, so I was so nervous. When I left home, I had a double of Jameson just to calm myself for the nerves. And when I got there, it was like, let's have a shot of Henny. I'm like, I never take Henny like that as a shot. Like, kumkabatla to the head. I'm like, nah.
I know who won.
Yeah, so when he got there, it's like, yo, man, here's the shot, man. Take it to the head. I was like, fuck, it's mega.
You have to do it.
You know, it's mega. So if you actually, I was a bit late on that show. But yo, man, good times, man.
Man.
Yeah.
It's a highlight.
It's a highlight, man. For me, in closing, it's just like that man was professional. More than anything, more than anybody I've seen. You know, there's very few people I've seen that professional on that level, that collaborative.
The ethic.
That receptive, you know what I mean, to learning or criticism if it's a field that he's not an expert in. You know what I mean? Like, I had the privilege of working with him on a TV show, and he was like executive producer. And a lot of people sometimes don't take that tag that serious. You know, he was there, production meetings, you know, giving feedback, you know, asking advice from producers and everything, like the whole nine. He was so engulfed in that process. All I could do was admire that. And even when he came to the sobering, you know, he was so punctual, bro. Super punctual, also helpful, even asking to help set up. You know, like, or carrying stuff. Like, it was, for me, it was just
wild.
like, yo, like, because we had even banked on, like, you know, maybe an hour or something. Like,
we're going to wait.
Yeah, we going to wait. But
we walked in with that dude.
He was there, he was present, team player. So many things that I think people can take a lesson from. But his professionalism, especially in that field where people don't take it like, you know, it's like it's rap, it's superstardom or whatever, but he took everything.
Superstardom.
You see those two words you used? He was like a hip-hop athlete.
100%.
Like a professional hip-hop athlete.
100%.
Like, yo, I just broke my heart. I might not play the best, but I'm still gonna play. But Hakifola, that season is mine. One tall.
Yeah.
Very
Kobe, I was about to say.
One tall.
Kobe wanting to play with the
broken end.
Yeah. Even with
and he'd say Kobe, and he'd say Kobe when he does the shot. So you know, this is about to be a Kobe shot.
Yeah.
Kobe. One tall.
Yeah.
That's him, man. And that's that. There's Mamba mentality and there's Bova mentality. You know?
Speaking about that, there's
Bova
a great way
mentality.
to go into. It's a heavy one. I thought about it a lot because, you know, like between the three of you guys, I have internal conversation with Cabello all the time. And we're gonna strip away from the friendship that is us when we speak about this. I'm gonna be speaking about this thing from a very frank point of view. It's also a good time for a little bit of stillness in South Africa. You know, 100%. And when I say stillness, I don't mean no movement. I say like it's a good time to be aware of where we're at.
Reflect a bit.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not even to reflect, Pops. We are like moving so fast culturally, economically. There's like stuff that's happening that's really bad, that's happening really fast. But also there's growth, one taller. And some of this stuff really needs some of us to stand still and say, are you aware of the country you're in right now? One tall. I feel like artistically, and I don't even know if I'm saying what I said the last time I saw you guys, because my mind, sometimes I repeat a lot of the stuff that I feel like isn't being understood until people get how I'm saying it. And also just speaking it different. I think that's what's happening with me right now.
Even the time that we're in, they receive it properly.
Yeah.
Bro, we are at the peak of like gun violence in South Africa. One taller. Some of us who are, I don't want to say it's a blessing, but like I got to see this happening. I think that's something that I might have said to you guys. In terms of our last conversation, I was like, it's ramping up. You feel me?
You called it.
And some dudes like us who make a specific style of art that's also very much on the ground. You know, it's a good time to make sure people get your point also, because you don't want it to get confused as you are the powers that be that move a certain way. We don't need anyone to be hard right now in our music also. And when I say hard, I mean like we don't need abrasiveness, man. You know? Because every time it happens, South Africans get shocked, like, hey, people can get shot daylight, but it's like, yo, those things happen, dog.
Yeah.
Some of us were rapping about how it's happening at home from when, and then people thought Maglera Doe Boy was trying to be a gangster. I am not a gangster rapper, you know?
Yeah.
I've never been a gangster rapper, but I was a kid who sold drugs from grade 9, possession with intent to distribute, up until just before I met Cooley. And when I met Cooley, it was a yo, is it a thing for real? And I was like, yeah, Pops is really a thing. Like, you go with me to the club. Who are the guys coming and saying, this is our Ndwana? You know, who are the guys saying, hey, Doe Boy, do you need help on set besides the kids? It's not the guys you normally expect to see on set who want to hold gear in a small town where we don't have cams like that. You understand? So I'm still speaking about it from a pocketed space. Where it's like, it's pocketed, so we don't have police action like bigger spaces. So you get to see what happens when it's not dealt with also. $1. Vice did a documentary now on Zama culture. You know where it is? In Stillfontein. That's in Maglera. Those are the mines we grew up around. Vice went to Maglera to shoot a documentary on how we have AKs right now there. Yep. That is not because of just people coming from other spaces to come mine where we're from and the factors that are always put out there. It's also because, it's been coming in this country, this thing. $1. And it's like right now, if we can lose someone that high profile in public, we need to think about where are we at in terms of like understanding that this thing is real. We don't mize it and just go party 2 days later. We don't act like it didn't happen after 2 weeks when everyone who was really close circle starts like taking this thing in and the country moves on to the next thing that's trending or whatever. Besides, people always remembering we lost someone. This is the craziest it's ever happened.
Yeah.
This is the craziest it's ever happened.
It's funny you say that because they say the last time we had this amount of murders was like exactly 20 years ago. 2003. So the last time we saw such a spike in crime was like literally 20 years ago. So 2003 to 2023.
And whatever we put out as artists, myself included, I had this conversation with myself when I was watching those videos. I was like, I took 2 gangs and I put them in a stadium. I just didn't have the design for what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm also dealing with my ego coming out of Maglera and wanting to show how Maglera I am. But I don't understand how that might make another kid want to show how Soweto he is and whatnot. And it's like, it's not about that. You feel me? I watched those videos, half the dudes in Nostalgic, some of them are gone, some of them are in jail.
Yeah.
You feel me? Some of the dudes in even my webisodes at home, you know, RIP to Gado. You know, Gado is gone, and Gado wasn't even like the best of my friends in terms of the township. But those are the people that I would not be scared to say, let's have that conversation. Here's the camera. Let's explain why Gado becomes Gado. $1. And fast forward to now, that made me sit still. Because the more I thought about it, it was like, we need more. We need that protection I was talking about in the hood before. But maybe the approach has to be more like, it doesn't just need to be in a violent sense. Right now, Maglera Doe Boy took a soccer team from Maglera and let them play in the Soweto Olympics. And that was still me changing the hood. You know? We come from such a violent country. I think the youth need a break, man. We're such a scared generation.
Quick to react.
I don't know about scared. I just
and that's what I mean. You see that quick to it. Like everyone's on the.
I think more
Just
anxious.
like
Yeah, I think anxious,
When
quick to react.
when I say scared, I mean like we spoke about this last podcast when I was like, when you're walking in the hood, Cabo Naini, and Mokhetwa is this side of the street, and I'm also this side of the street, but we can't see who it is. One of us is gonna do that thing of let me walk different, because I don't know what he might do to me. It starts there with South Africans.
Yeah.
One tall, we are so ready to do that, and when we don't, we are so chill about it, like to a point where you shouldn't be that chill. You see that lack of balance is because we don't have the balance. We don't have that thing of like, maybe let's not go to a point where all the youth in South Africa are so scared of being normal people. You wanna be a tough guy. I fight with my boys so much about that tough guy shit because niggas have been tough guys all their life. And I'm talking like real tough guys. Like niggas who like, I'm still scared of. But sometimes I get so mad, I'm like, hey bro, man. Ngas to dula re kwatile so.
Yeah.
One tall. I can't go casino khona dula le tshumi tse ding tsa ka be ke ka motho a bua gore ke mona da mane ma ka ska tlontlela masepa be ke re mara ntjalo wena mare why o dula le go space in sale
Yeah.
one tall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We exist so much in our readiness, and when we don't, we get crazy drunk, we get crazy ignorant about it, or we move to the burbs to run away from it. And then South Africa still happens on the side. I was in Cape Town, Pops, we're by this garage, and next to the garage is shacks. Kotoropong.
Yep.
Kotoropong. And I'm like, do niggas see the hood is coming the way we're saying? Because no one is dealing with that thing from the root.
Yeah.
One tall. It's not that it should be blocked. It's not that there shouldn't be shacks in town. But like, damn, man. There's a couple Lamborghinis that could have made a couple RDPs, eh? You feel me?
That's true.
Yo.
Damn.
A couple of high-spec cars, I won't lie. Yo, the specs are getting bigger, but the people are getting poorer.
Yeah.
And then we're shocked when someone is willing to go out in public and they don't care if it's a public figure and they'll rock them, regardless of who it is. That guy's hunger has nothing to do with how much that thing touches people.
Yeah.
Because also when you sit with the people who are hungry, it's looking too nice at the top to be.
Yeah. That's that tough conversation.
That's
A hungry man is an angry man.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
And if we don't deal with it, if we don't deal with what it's doing to Sauta, there's gonna be more. The price of getting someone hurt in this country now is scary cheap.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's dead cheap.
It's scary cheap. And it's
Not
like
even the price of, I don't even know if I should be saying this, allegedly guns. Like the way guns are cheap in the black market. Like
scary time.
Guns
man.
are like cheap.
Scary time.
So back to the stillness.
Yep.
Speaking about all of those elements, do we need to always exist in a space where it makes us forget what's happening? And my new thing now is, when I was here with you guys the last time, I think I was a bit judgmental because of the history that I've seen of alcohol and partying, right? It's not about the partying. Shout out Focalistic, I love his album.
Yeah.
He's talking about South Africa, but
fire.
You know? So maybe it's not a BPM thing. One time. Maybe it's not a subject matter thing. It's a choice.
Yeah.
One taller. And I just feel like we're like one of the most high-end countries, man. Like in terms of Africa as a whole is high-end. But if we talk like history and bolaki bagona.
Yeah.
One tall. Re fuwe bo Miriam Makeba, re fuwe bo Huma Sikela. That means ba binne ka de khutesi at the peak of them. And it saved so many black people.
Yeah, man.
I want the frat and the Mokhetwa and anyone else in the front of this thing to also say we need to put more art in the front that also just reminds South Africans that like we are sovereign to God.
Yeah.
We are sovereign to so many beautiful things. And it's time to remember.
The thing is with art is going to follow
what's happening. It's going to reflect what's happening.
It's going to reflect
I have a question about that, Pops, if you say that, right? Why was it easier before for conscious music to to be at the forefront of lifestyle, and we still had stunting music.
Because you had a common enemy.
We had a common enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Right
you
now,
don't know
right
who
now,
your enemy
right
is.
now, the
Your
struggles,
enemy is not my enemy.
Yeah, right now
Yeah.
the struggles are so varied,
They're individualistic now.
Yeah.
Well, we individualize them.
and it is encouraged to be individualistic nowadays.
Do you guys think we're in an era of people thinking for themselves more than
Highly.
the
You
collective
see,
more than ever right
Dog,
now?
Not
you see-
thinking for
Yeah, I was
themselves,
about to say.
thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Because when you're thinking for yourself, you're making your decision from your standpoint. Ne? But when you're thinking about yourself, you're like, I know this is going to mess you up, but I'm hungry.
I'm
Yeah.
hungry, yeah.
And you see it from the level of corruption. Like, there's no way, Doc, you don't know this money needs to help people.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you're thinking about yourself. Don't give a fuck.
And even that one, that's like ridiculous for me. I have
That's another
I think that shit is
conversation.
treason, Doc. Like, there's no way, Doc.
Aye, man. I
There's
also
no way.
agree.
Like, that shit is just
100%.
treason.
It's
They
so-
should stop saying it's corruption or it's treason. It's the country.
I'm sorry.
It's dilapidating.
I'm at a
And-
point where I'm so old, like, I don't think we should even look at, like, the government for assistance, guys. Like, the power's in the people.
I hear both.
You know? The
I hear
power,
both.
like, the people need to take up the power that they have. Like, it's like the people forgot they have the power, dog.
See, that's where
Yeah.
the thinking for comes in.
Yeah. Like, you forget you've got the power.
One tall.
We've got the
Yeah.
power,
One
but then
yeah.
also it goes back to the individualization of our struggles, you know? So,
So let's talk about those struggles. They're not so different, dog, because a Maglera who's more grown from the conversation he had with you boys a couple of years ago also says, like, this is a nice catch up. I'm so happy about like where I'm at right now, speaking to you guys. When we did that episode, I was just speaking from the heart. There wasn't any intention besides like remembering points that I advised myself not to go into, because when you're someone who's been so close to street culture, you also don't want to speak about stuff that has no business to do with you. One dollar, because that's still people's lives and businesses. And when you understand the root will always say, but you shouldn't have said this. I don't care. You weren't there when this happened to me. That made me this person. That made me do this. That made me do that. One dollar. But I sat still for the past 4 years in between making a lot of mistakes. One dollar. A lot of mistakes connected to my art. A lot of mistakes connected to my well-being as a person. And a lot of mistakes in terms of thinking that I'm also glad that I acknowledged so that I could remove them from my thinking and say,
you forgave yourself.
yes, definitely.
It's a big thing that not a lot of people
I tell you
do.
the most painful one that I forgave myself about was losing those boys.
I was about to.
That's the
about to
first
ask.
one. But my happiness came from saying, we were young, man, and we were wilding. And the most popular guy in the crew is also the one when he comes back from Brahm, where a Calvin and a Fred are the first people who I'm seeing at like a Back to the City. And it's like, oh, I have friends at least who can show me what this hip hop thing is outside of Ronara Repa Gomakai.
Yeah.
Kahimo Juziki hip hop. One tall. But when I get back home, I immediately turn into a Maglera dude. Immediately, I'm on BBM already telling those white boys, yo, we got the Zaza.
Yeah.
Like feta Portugal, like feta Kasia Boiti. Klare ke blela mautire mona. Fo clip I do. One tall. Mari, ho setse kana le tlantula yi. Klare ke bua le tshumi ya ka itseng gore mona mama o ska le bala last week eng ha re kopana tshwantse re motlatse le tele ga senya. One tall. Tshwantse di bottle tse di bule sauce for call. And at the same time, the same stuff is happening. There's a time when I saw you guys and I said all the stuff I said, but I was going back home and I was still dealing with the stuff that I was trying to avoid. One tall.
I hear that, man.
Whether it be stuff connected to mob ties, you know. One of my friends went to jail, Pops. He's only coming back now. I'm so happy.
Nice.
I'm so happy. You know, that was the first time I actually had to take care of someone that I really cared about. And it's like, yo, I know what happens because of who he is. One tall. And there's an expectation because of who he is for him to be good in a certain way. And I have that same expectation because I saw them live it like that. And it's like, mona, yo, nja, wabata, what's about the COVID, taking care of your friend from the hood who is doing like a 20-something charge case. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then you're like, yo, I just barely made it. I was a gang tattoo away from it if I really got convinced by the right guy. I was a gun purchase away from a mistake. You know, because all of the things that I saw happen with the Mandem, nje di etsa pelo ka bohloko. Di etsa pelo ka bohloko to point ga ona lite ke batlang go mmolella ge mona ntwe ke yentse nna nako ke le ntwana nka go gatela yona. Nix.
Yeah.
One tall.
I hear that, man. Just doubling back to that, you know, when you said you just forgave yourself, I think for those that don't know, like, what happened, number one, what did happen with
the boys?
With the boys, and number two, why do you feel the need to forgive yourself?
The older I am now, when I was talking about it before, it was just sad. I was mad, I was sad. But when I think about it now, context says, TK Utokokanana, Lizzie, my best friend. And me and Z were the ones who started the crew from our side. Me, Z, Linda, the way I've given South Africa this backstory. And then we meet the rest of the boys, Nash, Moji, and what became ONDE, which is now the collective and is the label that houses myself and a couple of people that I believe in that we're about to drop like a couple of things, but we'll get into those. When I am outside of home, dog, and I'm going back and home is becoming more home, I had a time when I felt like my friends were also like in the home loop, you feel me? And the home loop being, we're partying in the same places, the same mistakes are happening. My boys died in a car accident, you know? And I was so mad because I was like, I know they were partying, you know? And at that time, when I started coming to Joburg a lot and I'm meeting Bokuli and I'm being more intentional about the business and stuff, my only fight with them on the phone is like, just chill, man. Like, just chill. Like, you know, when I land, you boys won't need for nothing. And even in terms of going out and stuff, I felt like they were safer when I was around. So I was so mad I wasn't there when it happened, you know? Because we had so many plans. And it's like, I couldn't understand the idea of like, it's still like we're each our own people. We make our own choices. And funny enough, Z was there to see Nash because it had been a while since we'd connected with the boys because of something internal. That was like, for me, it was a lifestyle-based thing where I was like, I really want us to sit still. Like, I keep talking about the stillness because I feel like it healed me. And I'm not saying it's going to heal the whole country, but it's like, if anyone's had like as much chaos as set people that I'm speaking about, myself included, you know? This is when like, and I'm ready to even speak about that one a little bit also. This is when we are at the peak of not just selling drugs, but also we're doing drugs, me and my friends. And because we have access to drugs so much, we're not doing them like wild, because you know you can't sell drugs and do them. But like, I'm in Auckland Park, dog, I'm at an after party, someone opens a case and it's like 6 different drugs and I'm just dipping my fingers. After all last relax, I'm from the hood. I'm taking it in like a hood nigga. I'm widening the fuck out of this palette. That's why everything was done the way it was done. But when I'm going home, we are losing friends more and more to we used to drink for fun. But nah, you drink so much, man. You know, Osman Mang, I mean, dog, we tried this for fun, but you're very much invested. And even the thing of trapping was a byproduct of wanting to stay in town. So we could have cash for the basic necessity. Niggas was not trying to go Pablo Escobar until it went to a point where like, sometimes you're blomming around a certain level of a criminal or a drug dealer. And you're like, damn, we could really do it like this also. And we've got the cosign. Like, and about introducer to them, man. Nas said it on 48 with Tyler. You get addicted to the flip.
Yep.
You get addicted to being that guy, you know? And when I wasn't around, it's not just those boys of mine who passed away in the car. I'm talking about, what do they call it? when you leave the fishbowl, but you feel bad for leaving the fishbowl.
Survivor's guilt.
Survivor's remorse. That's what I was forgiving myself from. To say, for me to save myself and to save the kid in Kanana, in Maglera, in the Northwest, who is going through the same thing I'm going through. Because you guys made me making music for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be South Africa's star boy when you guys made me, in terms of intention. You know, in terms of like artistic palette. I was really just trying to go off for home. Those projects were strictly Maglera, even in terms of slang.
Yeah.
I didn't care about making it accessible to the next yet. I wanted to tell our story our way. So it existed also in our digital footprint. So now when they hear me, some of them can say, that's a one song. But it's like, I've been singing Tariana for how many years?
Yep.
Even before people understood that's actually a vowel word, like in terms of in hip hop, one taller. And even when it popped off, like the year before last year, when everyone was saying 18 Moyen, etc., I didn't want to say, yo, nah. I was like, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
And if you know, when Maglera finally says it, you're going to say, yo, my dude sort of said this is coming. The era of more street slang coming back into hip hop.
Yeah.
Not saying it was never in hip hop. You know, saying like, yo, I did it. It's not like I predicted 25K or I predicted
Tato song.
I never say those ones back to back because of how close I am to them, and people always think it's a comparison. But I want to say Foka straight
fair.
after 25. And then we bring Tato, you know, because it was Kilo. Then Foka popped off, it's a piano, which I love also, because that's also very much the dynamic.
Yep.
One taller. But if we're talking like that street shit is going to be in music again. And when it riles up, it's going to be not just in hip hop, like this piano wave. You remember, was piano popping off when we spoke?
When we spoke, it was just on.
It was coming up.
Mildly.
It was popping, but it
But
was
we spoke about
localized
it, right?
popping, yeah.
Yeah.
We spoke about
Yeah,
it.
it wasn't a global phenomena yet.
Yeah.
And I think I remember saying it's very much like hip hop. One tall. And when I say very much like hip hop, let's leave cadence and whatnot.
Yeah.
The power it has of bringing certain cultures
Yeah.
into the music, like the gun dance. One taller. The gun dance is just like a lot of other dances that we had that some people will say they have ramifications in terms of what they are. But dog, we had too many movements in this country. Those movements are always just a reminder of this is where the country's at.
Yeah.
Right now, our new dances are bleak. We had a time when the dance was the work.
Yeah.
You feel me? And sometimes it's like, y'all can't be mad because it's happening.
That's what we see.
It's happening.
That's what
You
we
feel
see.
me?
Yeah, but I just want to ask, like, it goes back to something that you said earlier on, which got me thinking. When you spoke about when you were selling drugs, what did you say that was? Like,
It was to stay in town.
No, I'm saying you called it like, what's the charge? With possession
Possession with intent
intent.
to distribute.
So you knew what you were doing and you knew the charge.
No, I didn't know the charge. I know the charge because of
It said to you.
the charge office.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know the charge because that kid was bawling his eyes out when they said it. To say, yo, in street value, the drugs did go. Possession with intent to distribute. Di thunto tso di entse. One tall. Ba o etsa present no re ai. Una le mo ankila mpotsang, ankila ka kana mfethu, ankila ka ke le phuza le hlomphiwang haholo go makhaya. One tall. Diamond ke a opola. Anantsho sampontsha zaka baby. Abaka magogo bala yi. You
Damn.
You. Tsetsa bo winging di fedile no. Fana go to na le 15 ntate. And the worst, I didn't have OGs in drug dealing when I decided to sell drugs. You
So
know?
how are you doing that? Yeah.
Like when I got arrested, I just decided I wanted to sell drugs.
But where did you? How did you?
Go stokiwang. I give to bua because can download no was stokiwang. Le angile no kompotsa re unga kae di khutesi.
Yeah.
Ka kire kos mama. A go ibla no wa tseba bo yena. Ibla no wa tseba. One dollar. And it's like that reminder that like, yo, I'm a South African kid was so important to say, yo, for a certain level of like more like there's a cap to certain behavior in this country, and that's that stillness I speak about. In that moment, it wasn't the cops. It was my uncle speaking ka Setswana. Hore mona o nka kaya matekwano to ke. Ke mona malome ke a rekile go. Oh, iblane wa tseba rikswa kae. Webebebe. Yo, di mana buima ka ne ka tseba. One to. So how you work a position with intent to distribute is more to say now most people, they want to take drug dealing as like it's a sport.
Yeah.
It's not a sport. That thing is a lifestyle. And there was a time when I was a kid who wanted very much to be fully engulfed in that lifestyle, especially when my mind was very much deciding who I wanted to be. Because when I was like 22, 21, I really wanted to be a drug dealer. Like, we were inside. They get on that the phone with to run account, I like when our bone, Rikin, go post box in your alone. I deal Malita Gokasi, Motivo Casaba Fita Motua Capola, Taka 50 randa, Emona, 2 drata I do, 4 drata I do, Neretalala. One tall. And the daddy knew each in Chile the way to move on music. That's why I can't no Lika mixtape. Kill to play after Gilebon.
Yeah.
One tall. Because I was talking to label about, yo, let's give this thing to the kids, because the people who listen to my music aren't going to be on Apple Music. Give them this thing. Next day, put it on Apple Music. It'll do whatever numbers it's supposed to do for the people who want to have it there. No, Maglera. Kuligin chak. Emon. Anjana didn't get big. And Ejo, na kidikeni. And it just means, in terms of our business, we're going to need to pattern another one that we can move in the palette that is the both of us, because we still have a plan together.
Yeah.
In terms of the brand that is Maglera Doe Boy and no, because I was like, dog, I made this thing with my friends, they died. No label can put like statistics on that. The people who want this thing understand that moment just happened. They want to be a part of that whole design. One to all. Blackie dropped, what's Blackie's project? Green cover?
For Love. I think it was Love. Or...
B4?
Nah, isn't B4 the album? What's the album? I think it's For Love.
Black and green one.
The green
Yes.
one. I'm gonna check.
I'm gonna lie, man.
I don't believe.
I'm gonna lie.
Happen again to get on trailer the album tsa Mautini ke di bale. Influence. I really want to.
Yes, For Love. The Black one.
For Love, right? When it's the same day Blackie dropped For Love, and I was like, fuck.
It was not the album. Because For Love, I think, was like around Feb as well.
It's after that. It's For Love after that.
Yeah.
I think it's when he dropped the album.
Is after the album.
And if
that's
I'm
before
being,
now, yeah.
If I'm being like also the young exec that I've been slowly ushering into, in terms of like, yo, okay, you want to sign yourself to your own label, you want to drop a passion project so people understand you artistically before you even remotely make decisions that are commercially biased. Where it's like now there's people involved, there's teams involved. It's not just about me anymore. $1. Before that, that's what 2Player and Diaspora was, actually. $1. So if I was speaking about that moment, this album drops and it's the same day I decided to leak. The Jay-Z in me, when he called everyone to say, drop everything before 50 drops, was saying, damn, this should have been on a day where people just wanted to hear something alternative and. You know, not on a day where Blackie is about to go crazy. Because that's our MVP right now.
Yeah, he's going crazy.
Yo.
Yeah.
If I'm talking about like playmaker, always down to like be a part of everyone's thing, $1. So I acknowledged that moment, and then something made my day, because I remember I blazed, right? And then once you drop a link, you don't want to immediately check what people are saying.
Yeah.
Smoked, passed out. I woke up. Yo. It's Muzi in my DM. He's saying, yo, Frat's in that thing. You know, it's curators. Yo, damn, you crazy. Damn, I can't believe you did this. And then one of my friends showed me a screenshot of Maglera Doe Boy trending on Twitter. I was like, we're fine. It wasn't for sale.
Yeah.
I gave it to Fakaza and Audio Mac. That's a platform that wasn't used that crazy at that time. Also, the numbers we did this is when everyone else was like really crazy on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So I was happy. I was like, yo, it's happening. We put the first brick in it, but like, I'm so happy that it even happened this organically where 2 players still not for sale.
Yeah.
It is such a moment to enjoy. When we're talking like, hey, me pa, it's like, it's like me pa, when. Only guy no come out to talk kasi dia mana bablela libo le re atsabi. Kin sa sa food
10 deep.
One tall. Yeah, 10 deep. Kin
Pull up. 10 deep.
And I shared that forgiveness I'm talking about. It's on 2-player. It's on Rugal Sonnet where I say, you might just fall if you don't find yourself in the darkness. That song is directly about the boys. That was what I used to tell them. I was saying, we're all in a dark place. Home is becoming crazy. There's more drugs coming. There's a gun trade coming. You know, people are more violent. Like, for Maglera to have a documentary on Vice is the craziest thing for me. For Maglera to have been trending on Twitter like 6 to 8 months ago, I think we all remember that. When it was like, yo.
Yeah, I guess this is happening. This was when the white dude was outside the van.
And I was mad because I was like, this has happened to black people how many times in town? But we needed to see a white guy getting rocked in town for South Africans to be like, yo, we need police response in Clarkstop. Hey, man. And that's Maglera fela.
100%.
One taller. That's the stillness. The stillness is, let's not act like you won't get blicked for shining the way you're shining right now in South Africa. Like right now, we're almost like, I went to Mozambique, dog, and you know what's the craziest thing I saw? What? And maybe I'm not politically correct, but this is just the information I was given by the people who were next to me at that time. First time going to a place where there's no middle class. Crazy.
But what you mean by that? Is it just high class?
It's either Sukhilik upon al child.
But we're getting
There's no gap.
How na afraid le kitso bana leng tshome ba mo chakela ngona le PlayStation o lo reng ko yena se re bana le koloi mara ba mo reketse PlayStation. One tall. Ha thowa koloi da uliwa ka metikaish. Child ya bona yo Italy ska waga. O ithotse mo Maglera yo bole. One tall. Ba la ka metikaish bua. One tall.
Mondo.
E bontshosa le nkosi ke shibile mzanzi ke re mona. The more about motho go dimo ba idalla ka resource ka eng.
Like it's treason.
Ke the more like go tlo ba le point mo lo reng ha ona ntwana e lo reng o khona hore like dog the me that was talking to you guys 3 years 4 years ago also understands that I was just lower middle class. But like someone said to me that thing doesn't exist because it's almost non-existent. It's almost not there in South Africa.
Yep.
My mother decided to take me to a school in town, and that's why I didn't have a kavela in high school.
Yeah.
Had I went to school, go kasi, I would have been, quote unquote, a hood cheese boy.
Yeah.
But because I went to school in town, I was broke as fuck. That thing messed with my psyche so much. And that's another one we need to speak about in terms of South Africa. That poverty is so embarrassing, man. Like not being able to like have a choice. It's so embarrassing. It comes from even clothing, dog.
Yeah, man, that's sacrifice.
Oof.
I told you guys this story, maybe, I'm not sure. But like, I remember there was a day when I got on my school bus and we didn't have toiletries at the house. And my mom's had a habit, sasa botor, like butter. You feel me? And I remember how sad I was because niggas were mocking me because I smelled like butter, like a lot. One taller. And when I think about it now, it's like, nah, shout out my mom to you. Because if you weren't next to me in that transport, if you just saw me as a clean kid,
You weren't listening.
You moisturized. But skin conditions, I don't know. Maybe butter is the new way.
Could be.
I'm just like, to not at least have the option to say, let me have my kids somewhat being decent when they go to school. Like, if South Africa loses that, I don't know what the youth are going to do. We've still got the option to look rich right now. South Africans sometimes don't look poor because of the way...
Yeah.
We're losing that so much, and that's why the people are becoming more... They're becoming hungrier. Sometimes I feel but that's like just entry level. I want to feel nice. One taller.
It's classic.
One of the craziest moments ever, and shout out to my dog, you know, is when this guy was like, my first Jordan comes from Fred. One taller. Sultan Austin Celtic.
Boston
Yeah.
Celtics.
The
Yeah,
Boston Celtics.
Boston Celtic joint, $1. Colorway is crazy. The leather's crazy. I don't know that because I like Jordans.
Oh shit, that came out 2013.
2013.
I
yeah.
know that because
2013 shoe. That's 10 years ago.
I
shit.
know
Yeah,
that because
that's
someone
10
who
years ago.
knows that saw it and was like, damn, I love that for you, Maglera.
With the
you
yellow
and I was like,
laces.
Emona buaga khale ke tiki go Edgar man didn't get wala maniga. Maga the option.
Yeah.
And the option isn't gonna come from one, us depending on the older generation. The option isn't gonna come from us rapidly making money ourselves. The option is gonna come from also some stillness to find the option. This chat of stillness isn't saying let's be in the club and all be conscious the whole time. I can understand why that thing can't happen. We're humans, man.
Yeah.
100.
Me and Fred were talking about my love life. It's like, yeah, no, go chopping you. I have some thoughts, some thoughts that have changed in terms of formula. Because when you are going to say, Mare, I'm just saying, like,
Hey, they will rock you.
Why won't you just do it?
Shout out to Flame, man. They gon' keep breaking and breaking your heart.
Why won't you just do it, man?
ask ka bua ka banyana pele.
Okay.
Ka pagenda, re tla jikela mo tabeng ya ka ya
I know,
bosting.
mara fetcha now.
The stillness is a chat the whole time. Pops.
The
stillness is me talking about just how like stand still and actually just acknowledge that you're in South Africa still.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
care if you're from Sandton or if you're from Stain City. I don't care if you're from Sosha or you're from Hillbrow. I don't care if you're from basically from the highest end or where they think is the trenchiest. You know, you don't need it to be in the trenches for it to happen anymore. You feel me? The more the hood gets to come, the more the hood gets to see that we're not eating like certain people. Before we didn't have social media. We didn't have people getting to how can I say? I watched Vince Staples say this. He was like, Logic doesn't have to check in. The rapper Logic. He doesn't need to check in. And I want to make an example like that with like something Soweto isn't getting
Hey, something so.
Wait, listen. Before you even go there, listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Something Soweto isn't getting abrasive energy.
Yeah, but don't play that boy cheap.
Yes, because he will. Yeah, I heard he'll touch you. No, I heard he'll touch you. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mautiasi di pari for relax, man.
Yeah.
Can I get sharp relax?
I hear you.
One one. It's a relax. I feel like in terms of lifestyle, like just enjoy. Or whenever we're gonna talk about something, Mega said, "Fucking relax, man. It's a good time for niggas to relax."
Hey.
People are so ready to
Relax.
be crazier than before right now in this country, and it's scary for me. It's so
Scary
scary.
for all us, man.
No, man, it's scary, man.
Dog, you're talking to someone who's like, I've seen stuff that scared me, nah, intentionally. I used to exist in the craziest situations, and my friends who didn't do the type of stuff I did would only say, "Jamar wa rata re tlisa mo bathong ba bao ma. Mamang no, re vaka imote tshontshe mali. Ke wanted." And all we wanted to do was party.
I have those conversations with a mutual friend.
Yes. Yeah.
I have those conversations, and I'm those people as well.
Yeah.
I'm
And you have those
people.
conversations with me on the side.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I'll go into it like a bit later, but there's something that I did like a year, maybe 2 months ago that I'm not so proud of in terms of growth, you know? And it was like, I was in a public place, I was given a hot blick, and I decided I just want to have fun with it. But it's like, damn, dog, I don't need to do that anymore.
Not at all.
I had a picture like that when I had just finished high school. But it's like, damn, I could have even said to the whole
Did you know that it was hard?
Emona stunya gets to me on fit. Au first stunya se kinya nkulu iwane. Asi stunya sa ulwana seo.
Okay.
Ke sa usage. Demo no matla point blank. One tall.
Make sure.
And I took this thing. Now we'll get back to the story.
Yeah, no, for real, man. I needed that to be dirty.
You got this after them, I say. Because one pose or one yet. Yeah, now I'm both like, but
But let's talk about the ladies, dog.
what about the ladies?
Them ladies in the house.
How you moving now? Because last time, none give Valentine last year. No one is give Valentine now.
Valentine, I'm not go Valentine. Only base in the double date.
Then what happened?
But with respect to that relationship that I had now, I won't go into detail too much, you know? I think people go their own ways, depending on what's the energy. And yeah, man, I think Maglera right now is just I don't have rules. I don't have rules. And wait, let me rephrase that proper, because the way you laugh, I know you think I'm running to these shorties, dog.
Nah.
I wanna say more like I can't define what's a love for me anymore.
I think you should live.
Yes.
I think you should live. I think you should do your thing.
Bro, you understand? I trapped so hard. Hey mona, motho khale ki papala go be komestasi. Wanthola. Khale ki papala go bo parlez-vous français? Wamfumana. Khale ki papala le go bo my friend de boaka. Kaofela bona. Wanthola e mwana o tsang go bo ma Ethiopia nyana frotmana ya o tla go shoponda ya mona gona ga mazimba mahala. Khosa tseba go hlokomela ngwana kwa bona go sigela. Wanthola. And in that whole time, because of my traumas, which I think you boys are the only people that I'm always confident enough to like open up a little more about, there's also an understanding that I've had about how that just had a blockage in terms of just me and human beings, like me looking people in the eyes. Dog, you know, like as good as I was with performance art and even trapping, like I was so good at trapping. We had so many concepts to how we package, move, distribute product. Had I not learned the word curator, I get all the matter like curator. Curator le magwenya go ka se re mna msizolo shebe the way curator ngacha le township croissant, flawless.
Township croissant.
Yes, come on, like, you know we call them the township croissant with the sautéed mango. Don't play with me. Ke magwenya ka acha just in case you want.
Sautéed mango.
Mango salad, papa.
When I have those realizations, is the more I learn, like, there's so much learning I'm doing as a South African man. And that man only exists in the stillness. My friends who have had the privilege of stillness because of not being in areas where maybe it's not even about being in the hood sometimes. Some people are in the hood, maka ba cheats, jo. Nkate nga jigela go tukelo wa khale, bikere, yo, amfanaka. Chilanyana tsa ntutse di tlo go ba pelo a jwanja. Ntotse go bileng pelo aka nako ke le late seng kentseng ke kene go ntotse go bileng pelo aka. The older I got, robbed me from a lot of life, man. You know, including understanding my standpoint. And I think right now it's the craziest time because it's like, actually, young nigga got options now. You feel me?
It's nice to have options. You got options.
It's nice to have options with everything in life. I think it's nice to say like, when I'll tell you, man, it's like feeling like the bad beach.
No, boo.
Baddie.
Larry's in his baddie era. Larry baddie. But I'm saying you allowed, man. You living your life, man.
But if I say it less funny and I say it more directly, it's nice to like really be able to like enjoy how I feel about women and like black women, for example. There was a time when I was too scared to be honest about like exactly the style of a black woman I like. Whether it be a physique of some sort or textures in terms of skin tone.
Yeah.
Because of wanting to not make anyone feel singled out. But it's like now I'm like,
why don't you want to make people feel singled out?
There's no one to single out now, the more I think about it. Because now the area, the full bahaza, code 14, slender malai leona no kono vaga yona, fashion week runway, red carpet nicely. Because no, kid like I've had the moments to interact. And if we're talking about Gary's love life right now, that's where he's at. Like right now, it's like, you might see me with esibongile good bloku. Wantola. And la katlana le go du man. Ke ntho ya good bloku ke.
Yeah.
Wa mfumana. Kapa gona mpona le parlez-vous français? Fashion Week, front row, and it's in lower here. At this school, I can't tell you. As long as I'm 2 minutes,
what's the violence bongile Fashion Week?
Because what Baba gets into you.
When on ya gang.
Keep out the trick, but long years. I want to get another 20 media can do me this ankari. Stars. Never Ride is one of the most beautiful moments for me in South African pop culture. Because I am speaking about such conscious stuff there. My brother, we are not the same. My palate is eclectic in terms of women. Naratswane media can do me disare como estás. Bruaka, I bathed in a dog bath, but the level of perfume you might find here is high end. I like
that you said perfume.
Yes, one tall. Sub-Sahara, where we had to be dusty as fuck. I think I take Qatar. When I Lamborghini to buy, I'm gonna steal on almost nanti. That's what that line really is. Besides me acknowledging that I am from like a very sub-Saharan side of South Africa, I'm also saying these are the social constructs I come from, but I still want to be this free as a human. One taller. No kakati, just kataza, lebanyana, chanka mawaza. Aksana stress, man. So in tleke moja kabuma, mamang, you might get touched because my boy got the. No, my boy will always have the one taller, but my boy is also growing. Yeah, one taller. He got the thing like a telela, but it's like he doesn't need to always have the strap like a telela. One taller. There's people we pay for that now. Let's all heal. How do you feel now? Your boy's getting richer. Maybe I can help you finish your course or something.
Beautiful thing.
One taller. My boy Battalion, I did this thing with him, with MTV, where I was talking about what street culture has done to us and what it's like to be a man. That's like one of my case studies at home. I took this kid. I was like, Nja, batla blow my lid na fela. One taller. Mauti bana batla abe muto different.
Oh.
This dude I'm talking about.
So understudy.
Yes. Not it's just he's my boy. I never like putting people in spaces where it's like I'm the and they're there.
Hierarchical.
No, I'm giving them an opportunity to be a different person.
Yeah.
And I think you saw him at my lunch.
Probably.
Yeah, and you saw him also at Cotton Fest with me. He's always with
speak
me.
about your lunch, your homies.
Yeah, those are the boys. Yeah. You feel me? We'll go there.
Oh, man.
But when I say it be dusty as fuck, I think kati kata no kakati just kataza. Leba kakati baka ke batonsa ke batobansa from boko kakata. Kichiti man. Ka lunch ka gingile a chusta ka be ba go batsa go the capital. E bua go no nyiwara. A no nyiwara go blela ntshaka ke na la re mona. So ke rona hi ke ya one tall re kuta mriri go tele re mona o sa ofetsa ka nna o kene ka ntshaka nicely after re latwa ka each one shout out my manager, you know, he be crying about the design also to say no, take your boys and really make them enjoy this thing so they understand also why this thing you're doing now is so important in terms of your life changing. One taller and shout out Freds also. He was there, you know. I think I don't need to talk about like what him and I did for the boys, but like, you know, he understands very much how I like taking my friends out of the stress we have from home because home is still one of those places where someone can call me and say, because
well, not like that.
Not like that.
Could have.
Hey, man, you get what I'm saying? Like people ask us.
Use my beats.
I needed to be close to home. I need you guys to understand.
Well, close friends, yeah.
My friend shot my other friend.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yo, I'm out. I rebuke the energy.
Yeah,
Please. I
for
rebuke
sure.
the energy. But I need to understand. I need just to understand the proximity of the closeness of it.
Yeah.
$1. So I'm still on Never Ride. I still need you guys to understand how no kakati, just kataz, lebanyana, shanka mawaza, limiraza, my big homie hivato hiloko aranadi dala. The first generation of street dudes I like was adopted by, quote unquote, subscribed so much to like blood in, blood out.
Blood in, blood out.
So much so that it's trickled into my music and now I sound like a Spanish guy in the hood because that's what I did with the culture. I was like, I'm not gonna go there. but I will pay homage to this thing. Go Mozambique, ke bablela ga mo ke tswara. One tall. Khale ke no ra dingwe ba ibitswa sumo de kana. E mona sumo de kana. E bua ga tswa ke ene ke moritelo natural. E mona bo ma pineapple, ginger, mfumana coconut levati nyana. One tall. Hana next artificial da.
Moritelo.
It's a handide. Yo. It's a handide. Yes. One tall. And it's like verses like that, it's just those moments where now I'm so happy to be a part of that part. It's like, okay, I can have fun with South Africans. I can give them a moment where I performed this thing 4 times last week in PTA, like 3 days ago. Never write, literally like twice a cappella, twice on the beat, besides my thing. But I can go to the club and I can say, I write these memoirs for my soul. And there will be that side of the club that's like, Joe, but it's like there's also that half that stands still and say, yo, dog, I was trying to mize it, but I'm here and it's speaking to me. One taller. Because not everyone needs to listen to the type of art I want to make when I want to heal or speak to South Africans. But I do appreciate that there's a space for both sides of Maglera in this now, how can I say, moment in my life.
Yeah. I just want to ask, when you guys made Never Right, did you know that it would be like the biggest hip-hop song of 2022?
Yes.
In that moment, what about it did you feel like, okay?
It was the flair, it was the intentional moments. It was listening to the people who say, this is how you create that moment. And I was like, damn, I thought I was going to use this verse on one of my joints, but like...
This one is the one.
Tato ran with that thing from the corner. Atle ka yona, a finesse, a ke nega mauti. A usko Maglera, ncha ke bitsa ka left, mara e kapo buikinya. Damani witsa mo meshi, Maglera has to do that verse here. And it's like Tato knew. He was like, yo, play Maglera that song.
Yeah. He said
Never Right was 30 minutes.
He said,
I wrote that verse ka December ko Maglera, ke jola le Como Estás. One tall. The Como Estás in question na lena bere arwanya. So le number eo be ke bencha bikinyana. Because I was doing the Maglera tapes at home with my youngins from Maglera.
Yeah.
And then when Tato was like, yo, play Maglera that song, I was like, damn, this is where it's gonna go off. Kiremesh, bola bitimo, nuka kati, just all of those moments, I was like, I know where it's gonna touch them. One tall. But what I won't cap you about is still how it happened. I knew like this was gonna be a big verse. But when I say how it happened, I mean like, I didn't see that one touching certain people. Also, you know, when I was talking about the podcast, one tall. Mare, fast forward to know, you're feeling the same thing that was happening that time. It was just more in a space where you had the palate to take it in. One tall. But if I'm telling you about Rolls Royce, when I make the first Royce, I don't think you should say, especially when you're a curator in the culture, I don't think you should say, I dislike that car. I think you should say, I don't get it, because anyone who likes you might cap themselves from liking the Royce just because they didn't get the first one. One tall. And these things have happened so many times that even the people who've said, I dislike the Royce that Maglera built first. It's like, you can't say you love Rolls Royce now because you get this one now. I get it, it's fair too. You know, you can say, I don't like Louis Vuitton as a whole, but I liked that kick. One tall. Maga's like, you still love Louis Vuitton because that is a Louis Vuitton. Just say the ones that came before, I didn't get them. One tall. And Never Right is just the one that I knew they were outside of the kids. The kids have always gotten me, dog. The kids, dog. I do memoirs in PTA, in Peli. At Boxing Day in Peli, I was doing Never Right. I was doing memoirs. I get the Never Right one. But do you know how much it touches me? To see a kid walk up Peli, say, that's why my eyes impure from blood and gold. When Almalita says memoirs, granted they must read the lyrics and whatnot, but we can shift the palette of the SADC kid that way, you know? And it doesn't need to be forced. We need to put it on the BPMs and whatnot.
The SADC kid.
Yes. Penalty, click the Mare, to finish what you're saying, I knew, dog. I knew because immediately after we did it, I knew more because of the way Mash reacted. Because I said, Pops, let me just do it. Then I said, ba. By the time that ba came out, we didn't need to do it again. I just said, shush, gang, shush. Wrap that thing, kill the beat here. Let's go, one tall. But it did put a pressure on me because at the same time, Never Ride is happening. I am packaging something that is so different in terms of vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I couldn't say to Mash, can we Diaspora, then Never Ride? They need to coexist, one taller. But when you're looking at the numbers of Diaspora, dog, Maglera Doe Boy dropped a conscious project at the peak of people saying, we want Club Maglera. And like, Makazana is like almost 400K now. I'm fine.
Makazana went off, man. Like the palette of
Diaspora.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Quarters of God, because like you were saying, you're coming out of Never Ride.
Yeah.
Also, Never Ride is also not far from Bodega.
Yes.
Yeah. You know? So we're like, okay, cool. If he's going to come out, he'll come out like that. And then Diaspora comes out, and then you listen to the album, first song.
Memoirs.
You're singing.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm not just singing. I'm singing in like avant-garde.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's so...
Damn near opera, yeah.
Yes. Yes. But these are elements I told you all about, if you remember. When I was like, what's next direction? I was saying, my Watch the Throne influence stuff. My more African influenced stuff, you know? And also, just to also like say, this is my vocal range, man. Hey guys, please don't try and make me your next stand by the wire and just look more hood. No. Maybe Louvre me on a Monday if you'd like to. Maybe the next day Mozambique me, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe the next day Glacier me. Put me by a jewelry store where I talk about how cold the shorties is in the hood. And it's opera about township dynamics. One taller. Because if we're all... One of my favorite quotes that I saw was, it's not an ecosystem if we're all doing the same thing. If there's no buffalo, if there's no cheetah, if there's no fish, then what is the ecosystem? If we're all cheetahs, then we're gonna be cannibals. We're gonna eat ourselves in this thing of all trying to do the same thing. One tall.
That's a tough one because what you did was become a butcher in that ecosystem, dog. You know, because that thing was like that one was like raw, dog. Like
what, Diaspora?
For me, Diaspora was was like, you know how when you just described the Never Ride verse, like there was like chocolate in the medicine or medicine in the chocolate.
Yes.
Let me put it there.
Yes.
Yeah, there was medicine in the chocolate. This one was like, yeah, no, I'm giving you guys mourning raw.
That's why I'm standing still in it.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was like,
that's why
you had to sit down and like maybe go through something to need the healing.
You have to stop mising because as a South African, with the past, I want to say 35 years we've had, none of us can say we haven't went through something that's attached
100%.
to where this country's been at.
100%.
And the decline in like the social standard and the caring about the matters of where this country's at. One tall. And that's why I was like, anyone is allowed to say, I don't like this side of Maglera, this style of Maglera.
Yeah.
But no one can say it's not true.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Do you think they understand it though, to the point where they even like interrogate that it's true or not?
You know what's crazy? So many people come back to me and say that.
Yeah.
A lot of people would say like, yo, boys, I wasn't too sure. Was it one of my favorite ones, like in terms of unexpectedness, was Nomuzi. And we were actually talking about it like 2 weeks ago in PTA, because I've never had in-depth conversation with Musli. She's always showed love. like in passing in public or like just on the net where like I post something dope. It's like, yo, this is hard. Like, you know, in terms of fashion and the scope of like the stuff we know her to be a fan of. You know, whether it be like aesthetic, the cultural stuff, because she's a genius in that space, right? And she's a big part of like that moment she had was also a crazy one for women in South Africa. We're talking like women coming through with the oversized hip hop, tomboy looks, and people just being ready for like women in hip hop in South Africa outside of like the obvious play that people like women in. So we're talking about this, and she's like, yo, man, I was on set. And even who she said played her the album. I was so shocked that guy played her the album. I forgot who it was, but they were shooting. And she was like, damn, I got it that day. Because now they're on set. So it's like they're listening while they're working. You know, you're not trying... I didn't make that project for you to make it while you're trying to catch... You're trying to catch it ASAP. I know they say it's a bad move in terms of like when you're commercially being looked at to not make something that's easy to get.
To have a slow burner.
Yes, but I was still also deciding my artistic palette with 2-player. Now with Diaspora, I know what I want to make. Those are the sonics I like.
Yeah.
All of the sonics you've heard in that album, from like, yo, Maglera Doe, mess with the log drum with how it came into the game now. Yes, that's how I did it on Banyana. That's how I did it on Tortupovu. That's how I did it on Tapelo. $1. How do you mix your boom bap with like making it like still accessible to like the kid who predominantly likes like a house and stuff, but they would love to hear a folka really just being lavish, but still bringing that fun element. And then you hear it. Martona run the game, came right back. No chimita. I'm top. Yeah. $1. And then the rawness you talk about is Memoirs had to be like that. You see that music video. I shoot that music video where one of the most traumatic things has happened to my family in terms of me when I was a kid. And I remember even the day it happened, I was at school and we were supposed to like do speeches, but I decided to just freestyle and talk about, yo, this really bad thing just happened, Kokasi, and I think we should change the hood and $1. And when I went to go shoot the video with Morale, we knew exactly what I wanted to do. I said, I'm not gonna perform this thing and try to look like no, I'm gonna stand still and I want you to put these kids around me and like burn their eyes or something, man. I want them to look like how I felt. It was like we're so unseen in these spaces. Kya kaya batho ba bua ka the way kanana le violent ka tenjo, mara like still le no ki feelang ka like malita ba khabate jo malita ko ka singa ka ba khabate. Ntho tse tsalanda di bohloko ntja. $1. And ha ke lo shoot a music video yora e mona wa sa bontshe batho ka si like bontle ba yona ke re ke ne ke tlo fitla la. Mara ke bua maka ka ntho tse nna ke di tsebang ka kasi since ke le mfana. $1. And that had nothing to do with who wants me power or not. Because if God forbid something were to happen to me after I dropped Diaspora, that would have been the last thing I wanted to say to South Africans and to the world about us. $1. And I will never let a commercial moment alter that. Never in my life will I compromise what I need to say for the boy child, and now more even because of understanding family. My music now is about family dynamics and just wanting to see black people outside of our pain. And who is an award giver to make me think to make me not want to speak that just because I want that. You know, who is an MTV's top what? Who is an SA's hip hop awards what? Who is even frat to say to me, Clary, I think on this next album, maybe don't speak about black people. Never. No one can ever do that to me. $1. Because as much as ki tebala, ki rata bo diaparo sharp, no ki hlabile pas mo cousin, beberi, meno ka abohlaswa. Mara still like ilebali. Hore, that's not why I'm here. $1. And that's why South Africans must never just get their cake and eat it, because we gave them so much cake. What's it doing for them right now? What's it doing for them right now?
Turning them to fat cats.
Teeth are decaying.
Exactly. It's a king's disease.
Yeah, man.
You feel me?
Just a caveat. Fred ain't telling this guy, don't talk about black people.
No, definitely. But you know what I'm doing? I'm showing the neutrality.
I'm saying. So now, in the process of Diaspora, right, there's a lot of admiration points that I had, and there's also a lot of question marks, you know.
Sure.
And I think the question marks came from your either stubbornness, stillness, or sureness.
Yes.
Of the project, right?
Yes.
Because you're somebody that has, a point of reference for how people receive your music.
Yes.
You know how people reacted or scrunched their face or the look they had when they listened to.
Like I took it all in.
To Never Ride.
I took it all in.
And then you see the reaction when you play Memoirs.
Yeah.
And it's probably not the same scrunch face.
Yes.
You know? And it's probably just something that's like,
Shout out to the
you know,
soccer
yeah,
outside.
it's like, they give you that. This beat's nice, or they say something like to just give a light compliment, but they're not giving you that reaction. How do you still stand still in that? I'm growing with this. I'm still moving with this.
I never needed to fit in at home. I don't need to fit in terms of this culture.
At home as in
Maglera.
Maglera, or not in your
Even in my mother's house. I've never needed to. I'm such a sponge of the factoids that I'm gonna take from advice and put them into my design. But it's like, that's my design, man. You know why I love Keenan, if we're gonna go back to him? That guy, even on songs where some of us felt like, yeah, the auto-tune was a bit off, is whatnot. Ultimately now, when you listen to that song 4 years later and you hear the progression of that design, you know, if we're talking like from his sample culture has a point where, but I think his was always more flawless, Wantol, because he was also a producer. But me and deciding, okay, I want to get over being a rapper. And 2Player was the first time I decided, let me try put something together and put it together in my tone and whatnot. And Diaspora is more of like a clearer one, you know? VS now, when I'm at a point where I'm actually going to bring in more people because I want the music to be bigger. You understand? These are 2 projects that were done by me. And Diaspora is one of the top albums on Apple. So some people are not being honest about what they're bumping. You know? And when I say that, I mean like, some niggas ba mamela Diaspora pilwa ile buhlungu.
Yeah.
And I know jika go Twitter, about damn.
A door to povo hit me.
Yeah, because when I man just screenshot about, you folded. You feel me? And that's fine for me.
Yeah.
That stillness doesn't need acceptance in terms of social construct. That stillness must do its job. When I see a kid from the hood crying when I perform Memoirs, because he gets it. I got a message, I think you're one of the people I sent it to, where a teacher was like, I am talking to my learners, Gela, about, I need to look for the message, but I think it's somewhere there, we'll find it. Let me look for the message, man. I really want to read it the way it was. I think it made me so happy.
Hectic, man.
Dimane are I'm on Instagram, I'm on tour in the
Right now you lit Obedi.
Ke bedi.
Obedi da.
Bua ka hlaba sutu sauce for go, ke bedi guy.
Obedi. Got the carousel.
Got the carousel.
Carousel. Is that?
Yo, I'm also looking at this thing and it's like, this thing was number 2. At the same time, Khaled dropped God Did. And had I been going for, I also want the hardest project in the club and whatnot.
The longevity, I think.
But if we're talking about like, I was next to that, speaking that.
Yeah.
I'm unpaid. Ke batla teaser e le nje. Teaser le reng? Teaser le ntse pela ka bohloko.
O ne thola no.
Ke shebile.
Me proud.
I beg your bola era yana go le ding etswa jo. The teacher says, we're doing key features of literature. I asked the learners to study the plot, setting, and theme of Memoirs. You feel me? That's exactly why we're doing it. If I were to get a teacher to have his students doing this in his class about something that dark and that like raw, and at the same time it's in the club, I think it would have been I think it's still unrealistic in terms of how I'm patterning it. For me to find that balance, it's still something I'm learning. I will never cap and say, this thing should be playing at this place at a certain time, because also it will bring a certain energy if it plays at a certain time. You know, when stuff is too real, like Muzembe, what's Muzembe azola idala, kodindawo ntitse nkokasi, motiba mugana.
Hectic. I don't know we had that culture.
Yeah, well,
We
don't have that.
Inside the violence.
Because America thing, you know, they songs they can't play.
Mzembe ke nambele nakukasinyaka leli ngedlala mfethu. Ewa Satan ukazophela ngithi khala Mzembe. Umoshebile le mani nje. Umoshebile le mani. Abadawa.
It does wake up those feelings.
Yeah, now uyidlala ngo-jukebox so. Ebua ka mana ya go jukebox ngwetsa so. O kenya 5 hopo ile ka tsilo le reng o batla o bone. Aba blom. E bore kidi ko shebile. Kli be ke raya fela khotile. O tla bona o fela kae. Before fita go chorusing na lona re tlo betsana re nye. Wa mfumana? And that's like the power of art. You need to understand what art can do to people.
Yep.
We might not be close enough to have seen it, but I know you guys know the jukebox scamp in the hood. Unless you saw go groove on down here, yo.
I thought a jukebox again 20K Bonham fellas on 6, but I was never there when it was active like that.
Valley, there was a song, the song that did that, well, in the hip hop, it's like in LA Onyx, Slam.
Oh.
When that shit come on, like it's war.
Oh,
Which song?
It's
Slam.
Slam.
Let the boys be boys.
Slam.
Motiba na mukana tupina za manega kuva.
Yo.
Volk manega ngeke.
Yeah, I can't say ba ke meka ya bona. R.I.P. Ben Sharper. You feel me? Don't play with the Val. Nacho mtsakaza ko Val abasa rap ke ba.
Is Ben Sharper from us?
I don't know if he's from us.
Man, Ben Sharper tsa ko lona ma.
I skipped on. I can see. I could be wrong.
Ben Sharper ukingo try.
Ben Sharper kwabo.
As a Kapstatement.
Manga.
Yeah.
Okay, let me retract that. I'm sorry. Very uncultured.
But you must still say R.I.P. Ben Sharper.
Yes,
Why?
R.I.P. Ben Sharper because
Why?
Dungeon. Because Dungeon.
Also optical illusion.
Yes, so I
madness.
think it's the relation of that era.
Yeah, no,
I get why you think that
it's
he's
that
from
ilk,
out
though.
there.
That's that ilk of rap.
Because we're the ones.
And when I ill kicking,
It's the cloth.
The type.
Type.
or shotaka S.
Yeah, Marikilense.
Silk.
No.
It's the ilk.
Are we kapela yon?
No, it's a word.
We send them more
Cut
WhatsApp.
from the same cloth.
We send them more WhatsApp.
Just the fabrics.
Wena skatla good yaka. Na leta zengu ya nigo ke thotse no ya moketsanga diaparo no ntsha. It goes other bikinyana. It's also an era I'm enjoying. What you wear also communicates how you feel so much.
Yeah.
I never got that until now. Like, I really like looking dapper. I like the idea of saying to the boys in the hood, let's teacup maybe, hey? The Henny issue has been hating me. I'll never tell anyone not to drink because I've understood that Cresto kilometers, that didn't carry VSOP, so kaskwatele mauti. Mare na federe relationship ya ka le bjwala. Tsana le relationship ya ka le banyana man akakushoa holo no re.
Tumultuous.
Inside kapa ke outside. Mare very much swaying too much outside. Very much.
And then in terms of Joala, is it a reaction to something? Do you think?
It's more like I become that Maglera Doe Boy from home. And sometimes in this situation, it takes away my stillness.
I can understand.
I was talking about a situation where my phone got pickpocketed at a well-known venue.
I was about to bring it up.
And because of the love of the venue, I won't say it again because actually, I thought I sort of threw them under the bus. But also, I didn't expect for it to happen in the north, man.
It happens everywhere, bro.
Hey, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I'm so late, I forgot. Okay. And when I heard who acquire my device also elegantly, I get the way Kimo engage thing. I can't no. One tall. Because happy is not like next time I leba tobacco by loring and then like what if I value to buy? And installation national no go late. You pola mane ninja ka street festival ke Mardi Gras ya ko Maglera. It's literally you would go to town, dog. People are drinking from their flats. The whole CBD is just people getting lit, dog. And the robberies were crazy. And in my youth, the craziest thing that I experienced was stick-up kids watching us make money. And it's like, you can't go snitch to anyone if your OGs aren't there. Or yo, diamonungile di drug stack. I can't go police station. We kire man. Diamonungile staff sack.
What you telling the cops, huh?
So let's leo. And I get buaka into in terms of sometimes it robs me of my stillness. One tall. I can't take in what scheme sakaremona. Kiabono rent like how active in terms of partying at the street festival. So it's a child. Obo. Yamana mpento tsaka la ke ntse ke mathisa ntwe ke mathisang shone sa swakala za ke baya jo buma anja wa tseba o le ntwana zgelo riksa dizolo ka matsatsi a jwalo ke like o riksa dizolo ka bo Cotton Fest ona le mntwana nyane la hlileng ya bolgowa e lo reng o tlo mo pecha mo besa ka bo maemo dileng ke 50 rand wa nyela wena mara ona le mauthi ai tickets ke tsara di 15 choko bo
ke choko so box
ne ke ne ke riksa zola half box zola half box ke tsogisa ka yona ke na le 15 ene le pokutsi 4 kapa 6 mara after that day wena riksa ntwa mali
box anymore
ana ka chisa ne ke mix a indoor it's also a part of the stillness. I feel like the weed game niggas. And I told Fred we're gonna speak about it also. Everything is too strong, man. Niggas are having too many bottles. Niggas smoke too many plants in studio. Niggas smoke too many plants in general. How are you gonna know what's happening anyway when you're like that? You know, that's my thing. Like, I come from direct insobriety. Is that a term? Can I say that? I come from the opposite of sobriety for such a long time in my life.
Inebriation, maybe.
Yeah, inebriation.
Intoxication. Yeah.
I come from intoxication for a long time because
Damn. Was I having a conversation with you about how Majita was such a lady benzine?
Oh
my God.
Oh my God. We indulge in Tinaina.
Damn.
But coming from that, like, and it's also a thought I had, right? My favorite rappers are like your Boldy James, your Freddie Gibbs, your Pusha T, not just because of the rawness, but because I come from like small town drug culture, which I think is its own pocket of drug culture. Where like, Ejo, if you're 10 years old and you're huffing benzene and glue, when you're 12, which is a kwai. Nana original thing ke do cheese girl at grade 4. Ke lo chisa kwa iko nuking le doba. Nchaka doba. Wasa re fotsa chisa kwa iretsa. Re mo gana so. He wena ke blue wena. You wena ke blue man. One tall. Why do we already wanna exist in that not being sober? Because of the amount of jail and gang culture.
Why are they visual?
Yeah, man, check out Zoom. It's crazy.
Kids were doing that at 11 where I was from.
Where I'm from, like,
but you know why?
The river, dog.
But you know why? The Val and Maglera, in terms of the Sotho culture, is actually so connected. Yeah. And this is something I didn't know the last time I was here with the boys. Mfuman, Tadiana go Maglera, how no apere so? Osa go town, o tla gona Tadiana. One tall. Mara gona ka rana ka sa tsebo Tadiana e relate to
my Italian.
Not just that, the other elements that maybe the people will say are unfavorable in terms of like street culture.
That come with being fly.
One taller. And just like in some spaces, Tadiana gets straight. Is that so? Outro le Tadiana bo ba boaka. You know that one? You know that but if we're talking about sharp, 10 years old, Dimanogo Nuken Lichumita, she's just Stevie Cent, the work. Stavata. What's the
PS. PlayStation.
Grade 4, she's just Stavata.
Nah, not got grade 4. I think. Time to this day is still like.
Belgium, Belgium. I confirm.
Definitely, daddy decking happen. So I decking.
And then grade 6. Grade 4, you're smoking a Stuyvesant. Grade 6, now niggas around you are huffing glue and benzene. One tall. When I tell me fitanga ka bike alahla kwae. Silo mugelo kwae na le uma 12 funja. And about based on you, unga kwae una 12.
I started smoking late, man. So
you started late?
I started when I was 22.
And then grade 8, I was raised well, you know? And besides these little things that make me mad, I actually don't need to be a bad kid at school. So grade 8 was smooth, yana. But then grade 9, it was like, nah, man, the dollies, they like the niggas with cash. You know, they sell pizza at school. Dog, the first time I saw pizza was high school because of the style of township I come from also.
I think you've said this one
It's
before,
not just a social thing where like my family couldn't or what. Because maybe if I grew up around pizza, I would have hustled 2 copper pizza. One to all. Let me step my game up. That's why I really started trapping. One to all. Marino here is the biggest one in this country at that time. Keti Gena Mumzanzi.
Yo.
Keti Gena Mumzanzi. You're doing your second grade 9 year, but you've got OGs who can front you the plug to where to go get the yayo. And some of my best friends, I can say to him, yo, the white boys at school want 2 grams of coke. How are we gonna run this up? One tall.
I mean, niggas knew coke in high school.
When I was 16, we already had access to grams of cocaine. And that's why I never want people to think we were trying to be like Pablo Escobar. This is small town drug dealing culture, but it's real. You get the coke, you mix it with the cat, you call it a cocktail. You get the cat, you put the teething powder in it, you call it cocaine. Because now if someone takes it and does this, they're gonna, it's making my teeth numb. It's definitely coke, even if it doesn't have that smell. One tall. And then by the time you're in grade 11, grade 12, what's wanams? Even another people 3 years English, the drugs mo pokotong. Kiblela mizo, telling my English teacher, yo, can I go to the toilet? Kitsitse Southern Comfort. Kamwara bottle. Kitsitse soko kamwara bottle like apple tizer. Niki mo etsang Shakespeare buaka. Yo. Why is it about Rick James? I'm just saying.
Have water in the motherfucking. You hit that. You raw dog in the exam paper, dog.
Yes.
I don't think we was
locked down.
Yeah, we weren't allowed
I'm
internet.
raw dogging the exam. I'm raw dogging the exam paper with a gram of coke and apple tizer.
What is gram of coke for? Is it for your own personal use or term?
We were kids. It could be for whatever. If someone buys it, then I made some money. But do you understand? We're also like
if they
those
don't
kids.
buy it, getting, it's a
I'm a
win-win.
kid.
Yeah.
I'm a kid also. I'm not seeing the ramifications of, and this is what I'm speaking about when I'm like forgiving myself for us being those kids. Hey Joe, can I let you mean we are gonna go PSP pop, but I'm gonna cut a PSP or once I'm out and I'll tell you why I know. On top of the PSP is a big ass line. And if you don't know drugs, this is the time when you can learn them. Okay, now got in geography, she believe me so.
Concrete fisher, so I'm imagining dog. What's about adrenaline any teenager?
I can only imagine, man.
And then you take coke on top of that.
That's why by the time
I give me 0 for that.
Zero, dog.
That's why by the time I'm in Joburg with Fred and Calvin, I'm so over getting lit at back to the city and shit.
Yeah.
I'm asking niggas about sneakers and skateboards.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, if I want to be that guy, I can just live in Maglera, hey? Nanu but ostadia dido nyabune gano. And happy man ke khatezi ke tena bo man khware le go biring walwani wa kapari emotionally kana nanja ke na le pelo e sensitive jwanja. Thumisa ka babamba dangerous. Mara na khona shaba motho mo mahlong tears out. Ke ra marenja e why we is marenja. Yo, why nja? One taller. And because I asked that question so much, I was tired of asking it. I was like, I need to speak about it. I need to show them. One tall. But that's why that's why I'm so empathetic for also the people in the streets. Malita Atubandru, Malita like crystallets as a mautima se.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
That's
the wave now.
Baby that clicky.
Enge?
Clicky.
Click.
Yeah, get like that thing away. Come on, I don't believe I click. One tall.
Oh shit.
And it's like, I also remember us having this conversation the last time I saw you guys about how the era of drug culture in SA is peaking.
Yeah.
And the drugs are going to get cheaper but stronger. One taller.
It's happening.
And also they're stronger because they mixed with other shit.
Either way, stronger gets stronger, buwag.
Yeah, I hear you, but I'm also just trying to bring up the danger.
I think you're talking about purity.
Yeah, but also just the danger of it. I guess,
I got la purity. Mauti ba se busy. Mauti ba batlang tshotla bezang busy. Ke a bola cause ne ke le ntwaneng. Mona, ha o fetsa beza grem ya khuku, botsa go se gela lo sheba go di ntshang go library. Wo ko ele ke bo ma 20 minutes. And who can know first of Rick James? Outside.
But Rick James.
Because I cocaine in about by advertising. It's a whole different cocaine to the cocaine he's talking about.
The only thing
it's weird, though.
All nigga had to tell me about cocaine is that side effect impotence.
Let me tell you the craziest thing. Let me tell you about the craziest thing.
Side effect
impotence. Why there's such a thing as coke dick?
Remember
it doesn't come up.
But it is a thing.
Even one of my favorite rap, because Lip Danny Brown was talking about it as well. Because I remember Mkata mentioned it.
I mentioned it because I heard from
no. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not that hard to clean it up. I'm sorry, my nigga.
I mentioned it because I heard.
Yeah, because he knows people.
About it.
Let's go to the after party. Let's go to the after party. It's 2014. Now I'm like in and out of like Joburg and Maglera. Sharp. 2012 I finished. 2013. Yo, lady, but I was obvious it's cab. I really want to do the music thing. One taller, I know Jay, I know Fred, I'm sleeping on the couch. I know Fred and them. This guy's also crazy on UTV. I'm on UTV one feeler when I like yes, I just now it's OT, where like the boys see, oh, TK has access to this. So I'm going to hoods like hoods that are synonymous with like uppers in South Africa in terms of Joburg. I'm going to Westbury. I went to like what Davy, Wantola to go see the plugs. Kijigaga, stuff sakara. Yo, motiva sanyaga. Yo, wanyi. And now what that's causing is I'm starting to come into my Maglera thinking in Joburg, and that's not what's supposed to happen. Joburg was supposed to be, hey Joe, I can be a normal ass South African kid again.
Yeah.
You know?
Fresh start.
When I'm in Joburg, I actually enjoy being a hip hopper.
Yeah.
I enjoy so much being like, dog, every time I'm with girls.
Well, nigga.
Yeah. Mara.
Yeah. Fair.
One tall. Mara ke rata lifestyle ya manika. One tall. Diawa bongwa no khono isa ko ndawo ngaba just try it, man. Ke go tseba ke kizame man. Mauthi abayo. And then mauthi batla next day. E mona ke gona ba re betsa chicken chow mein re bo ma 16 go tafole. One tall. Wa re mona o ye rutwe ke mandi. Re mona wa tseba di ding chipi jwang iblane. I'm fitting ka bole khale re je jotse tsa ma China and di etsa mawaza. Yona silo ja soup ya ma China o bezwa ke sifuba. E batla force lie. Ba qetile ka nna. Ba qetile ka. One tall. The after party, now I'm coming in and out. So now it's like those moments of saying, damn dog, that not being scaredness that I had at home, it's also now happening in Joburg. One tall. Ke go after, he mona ke groove le mauti, kopana le demon mo mona demon go putsa bo Kurt Cobain. And then when he spoke, bro, it's like, just chill, bro. Just dip your finger, bro. Oh, I know. No, Wayne's World, excellent. Ke groove le malita magoa part 2. Mara no ke groove le malita a magoa ba lower class ya ko Lexdorp. O groove le mfana ring time ayo patetse course ya ko after. Damana ansa sa go sigela uma 2 months mango to pasa cause uma sepa ka khemel. Mantol. And I know tseba maybe time I gena building statue sele se bopela conference room ya boma eng. I don't know tseba. E mona da mano bula ra identsa. A ga kenya mona na o kai. E bro ka skampela ka di drugs tsa bolita ko kitchening. Bo Zolo, bo pilisi. Di pilisi it's on mura. Yo ha pilisi in Africa di washing. Na bo ma 17. My manager had a party for me. Dog, I didn't need to do that drug that day. You know the one, the pill that they put in the bottle cup.
No.
Ke bone ka izo.
Ke fetsa go theoa koloi. Ene bontsha bobo dikgomo.
Yeah. That's Ndanda. It's even from Izo. That's why I know it from.
Ene bontsha bobo dikgomo. Side note, dog. The craziest thing on TV for me, the plot twist of note for me, was learning that the gun behind Gunman's head was not a tattoo.
When they brushed it off.
When they brushed it off, and his grandmother said, I thought it was a tattoo the whole time.
He had to wake up and do that shit.
Why draw every day?
Damn, that's crazy.
Because you don't remember when he was found out. When he found out that his brother was killed because Nelim Pimpi, and he was killed by his boys. He was like, man,
Whose brother drove the venture to school or some shit?
Sunny boy, Teaser.
No,
Teaser.
Re tla ya he ko ne bontsha bobo dikgomo because ke bona o interested. A re fetse pele go after.
It's only after and cake.
Ke tsana ga after na bua.
He partied
after.
He partied.
Na ne ke iphelela ne tla mo Joburg ke bleletse le di ma Grisen. O bona khosi o batlang ke etse ke 15,000. And sharp e as gela ke feeling. Tla go le di bibi kgwedi ya pe.
So gela ne se le kae ma?
Mo Bram.
Ne le Rosebank ka foneng.
Benham.
Go parking yana ele da.
I think that's Damelin. Damelin
Damelin was Rosebank College, wasn't it? No, Rosebank College.
Marcus
No, no to kopana le Maglera mdlapa fela. Mtho ma go geleza kae ma.
Oh, Paula, man. I don't believe in it.
I couldn't understand.
I don't believe.
I see Vitas. I see UJ.
Give it like I go visit UJ, my friend. That's a man. When I put one, that would have been a bit careful.
Benham is across the bridge.
Benham is there by the,
you remember?
The Total.
Yeah, Benham is by the Total.
But you must also remember, I thought that you were a rich boy.
Sure.
Because of the quality of the songs that Kelvin would play me.
Sure.
So I was like, the quality. I'm like,
boy.
Come on, Kelvin Child, La Padilla, you popping bottles. I'm like, get it, cheese boy. Because also, I know in our family, we also have that our cousins that made music. Libona. They were good.
Shout out to Vuya, shout out J Black.
Come on, but J Black, they were good. You know what I mean? So that nigga,
you were good.
I thought, I thought you were that ill.
When I was coming to Joburg, when I was going to school in Brum, I was either sleeping on my sister's floor or on Nash's floor in Auckland Park. The conversation with my mother was, I'm not gonna sleep on the floor for a job. Because I've never had a job and I've already seen the type of money that my peers see now. Baspana kobo Debonese leading, but the 2.5, 3K, we're talking like entry-level span in Mumzanzi. I'm not saying we used to see that type of cash in a day. But like, in the craziest moments of like trapping at home. Golf ball ya kid. Why is it about golf ball again, bro? 8 ball.
Kids was 8 ball, yeah.
Kill nigga.
I know there's an 8 ball. What?
Hey, bro, era di upper moms and see gona re bone HT. After party, white boy re kenya menwana ka ofela. Tsamale mo ngwana mo ngwa le go wanta ngwana se re di euro. Ke nna ke kopele ke ba etsa ma o thitho a re fitla re lo reka cause ngwana ena ntse a batla go reka mo. Ko Maglera some of the mandem, they don't say hey or they whistle. No, they call you like that.
Like Boga.
Yeah.
Na ka tropa nationality ya bo.
Hey yo.
Tse fela mande.
Awala le khunta das hey yo.
It's not a greeting. It's a way to say hey.
Oma homa bebeza man.
No, they do it to niggas as well.
So, ki fitla lo ngwana o ja. Jwal, mo rijikele go after nje. Yo, liti ya bule. Mona di mana na le library ya di drugs. Ke bitse re di. Ta mo no butsi di cases tse nyane tse are nka e kinye ka hi, nka e behi, nka yo etse so. Yo, Now it's acid, shrooms.
So ubona dilo.
One of the home.
Ecstasy in its purest form. He broke ki guretswe, ki religious, ki conscious. Totsi di etsahala na go iwana. One tall. And then I think that's when my pineal gland just fucking split, bro. In terms of art and lifestyle and music. Because now it's like my palette is that open, but now it's been opened like that.
Because I don't know which one it is, but it does that to your pineal
It's
gland.
acid.
I think acid. I was about to say MDMA.
And I tripped on acid twice with niggas, you know? But I was saying that to say this, right? You can't box a guy whose mind is open like that. You're talking about a guy who
don't do drugs.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Please.
Also, you also need to disclaim. Like, there's a lot of things that you
let me
need
just
to
put that disclaimer out.
I need to
before-
put that
Don't do
disclaimer.
drugs. There's your pineal gland could split, and it could be for the
and
worst.
it could get messed up.
It could get messed up. You could go on a
Yes.
bad trip, and also just the other adversities
And I think
that come with drugs.
before I even go to, because these ones I'm telling you guys are the ones that felt fun for me. You know, like the after one felt fun. Being able to drive with my friends at home, dog. Le palame golf ya grot manitseng, permanent at wanted. I saw like wanted. Ha re mana tla go ndaong, ha re ka di biri ding, ho dula o ska blela motho dia manote. After them mana yo, nkapeng ka speed ke lo tswe karata tse 4. One tall, TK, tsoga so. One tall, ba tseba re TK ena, o masipa go pata 1 2 3. Mfuman. And then scheme sa go re van le ena, getaway driver. The craziest one I want to tell you guys now, before I get to now the bad stuff and why all of these is me saying niggas don't need to do this stuff to be this cultured and to understand the world like I understand it now. That was just my journey, 1. And 2, I hate so much what happened from all of those things more than I appreciate how strong it made me in terms of character and in terms of, how can I say, my empathy for troubled people. One taller. So definitely don't try drugs, guys. Like, I tell my engineer all the time, dog, he's sober, he's never drank, he's never smoked in his life. And now because he hangs with me and like, I'll smoke a blunt, then he'll see me just like come up with a crazy line. He'll be like, I wonder how I would be on 1 2. I'm like, I don't want to see. I don't want to see. Because if we're going to speak about like anything with chemicals in it and our history with it as Africans, we had systems for ingesting specific stuff because there were elders and whatnot who would curate and hold your hand. This thing is called a trip for a reason. It takes you somewhere. They would hold your hand and come back with you. Whether it was after war and someone was put in a hut and they were told that we need to cleanse and help you with your traumas. One tall.
There's also, they've not westernized it, but it's an Indian sort of...
The tea.
No, ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca, There's also ayahuasca.
Yeah, that's
which,
that one the shaman puts you through. But that's like
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
And then no one get the doctors I know in terms of the world now, there are times when that type of stuff is microdosed to you. One taller. In terms of different facilities who are forward thinking about trying to, you know, because the bad side of that side of, how can I say, the black market of pharmaceuticals will always exist because of the demand of people wanting to be still some way. The boys in the hood don't do drugs just to enjoy them. Sometimes they do drugs because that's the only way they can feel.
They can feel or they can forget.
They can escape.
Yes.
It's also escapism.
One taller.
As well,
It's very much escapism.
Yeah.
One taller. And for me to even make a project where like I'm not flexing how much I used to trap. VS on 2-player. On 2-player, dog. I was saying, we're here now. Come to the bando. Come challenge my boys. You'll get that. Because, dog, I was with people who like had committed like the most atrocious of crimes at home. Not even like entry level. No, I was entry level. I sold drugs and I went on a few runs with people who stole cards and we might have abated in some crimes that were like a schedule higher than drug dealing in terms of like theft and whatnot. But when you're around a dude whose knife has a name and niggas know that knife, you know like, there's a certain tier to like the street shit that like, I don't want South Africa to have a rapper like that.
You know what's tricky though? Because you talking like this is almost like putting it in a song.
I feel you.
You know? Because there's a kid watching it who's not like mature enough to even understand how you're saying, I don't want this. You know, like how Jay-Z was like, hopefully you have to go through that.
Yeah.
There's still people who were influenced the other way.
True.
Yeah.
I think that's just a double-sided coin that will always exist.
Yeah, when you speak
also
about
true.
a rapper like that with a knife with a name, like, I think I don't even want to even put it in that bracket, but it might be a little too late. There's niggas like that.
That's what I'm saying. We're there. I'm saying we're there. We're at a point where, like, because South Africa's there, you know, the kid who wanted to be a soccer player, the kid who wanted to be a what? There's more of them who went there and might pop off in the social element of SA because of that in the space of any type of art. And it's not just like actors anymore, where like they would get like the street dude to become an actor, or they would take a street dude, you know, like olden superstar culture would say, take someone who's a criminal and teach them how to rap.
Yeah.
Like how Dre did it with Eazy-E. Or how some people who were openly criminals who were like fresh out of jail and stuff were produced in studio. You know, like the OGs, some of the OGs in Kwaito were actually like, ugh. But it's happening again. But it's happening at a time when the guns and stuff are crazy.
Yeah, it's violent.
And we know what the byproduct of that is. I'm not even like putting it to a certain genre, but I'm really scared of when it gets into the dance music, because dance music is the biggest genre in South Africa. Where like niggas are openly talking about Mama Remotunse last week. Yeah, out on you. Especially but 50 babina Mama Remotunse last week. Okay, when motherfuckers are celebrating me getting Blake. Yeah.
No.
So yes, disclaimer,
too dark,
don't do
man.
drugs, don't try to be a gangster, don't do crime. It's not the one. It's not the one. Respect to anyone who has came out of that lifestyle or exists in it and that's their thing. But I am not here to tell a kid from the hood or a kid anywhere in South Africa, go do all that stuff we did. I am saying, when I'm explaining this timeline, and thank you for saying also you need to disclaim some stuff, you know? When we get to now the bad side of it, when we get to my 17th birthday, and one of the first times the people who cared about me in terms of taking care of my career were like, yo, let's do something fly for you. And niggas host a party for me called Jobedina. And Jobedina is one of the hosts that was recently a lot on the news and stuff because of just the stuff that was happening in between, like certain collectives of people and gun violence and just like what it does in Maglera. You feel me? And that's how Maglera ended up trending on Twitter and stuff. And I was like, but gents, this thing has happened so many times. Zola came, Maglera Doe Boy spoke about it on the Sobering. It's been on the news a bit. Maybe we need to do something else about Maglera. Maybe we need more affirmative action. You know, even Ntantla Lux was in Maglera and he called me and was like, yo, Ntwana, your hood. And I was like, the more you guys come see and can say it out loud, I'm so happy, because I just hope one day someone will say it loud enough to save some of the boys at home.
To the proper change.
You feel me? But it's my 18th dog and my 17th and my manager. Onchapela party da konta home. Ona le flyer. Akuthoka kolwile mawutireva ka pholo re bo ma 8. Ke gona fela maniga. Like it wasn't even like my buddies who did street shit or whatever. Like I'm with the posse, I'm with the crew. And in the crew there's like people who are more affiliated than me at the time because I was a kid. But it's like we're going there with the notion of we're gonna get late, see which crush from school came through. Maybe today I might lose my virginity. Guy, kopana le ntshengwe ya ka ba mitsa Garafi. Omumba mitsa Skotani no go kasi. Yeah. Mauthi ba msele. Alright, man. The day before neke ba khapile ba lo e batla go toropong. Ndanda, goof. Kapa mauthi ba lo e batla. Because I get can access. One of the most dangerous thing to do to a kid who has aspirations of doing anything that is like potentially like yes, bad, is when he has access, he won't just do the notion of partaking in the business. He can also go to the other side of it, which is the bad elements of trying stuff at the wrong day or losing people because you introduced one of your friends to something they shouldn't, which is also something that I had to forgive myself for. There's so many people that I grew up with at home that like I would say, don't do this shit. I don't want you near this shit. Yeah. But I still feel like I could have saved them even when they started, because some of them even started not in my presence. But there's also people who literally came to me kabudi farewell when I was in grade 10 or grade 11. Niggas were like, yo, I want to try ing. And it's like, damn, I got you. One tall. So these niggas pull out this thing. It's like, yeah, I'm going to give birthday out, man. Better too. Joe. That in here, apparently, we too, but some do too more fast. Or I'll go, to be there. When I helicopter in the feet, why is it like helicopter? I want to know you away now. CIA.
Get to bed.
$1. GTA, no. So now I'm fucked up. There's a shorty who came through. I don't even know who she is to this day, dog. And then that was the last time I remember my birthday. This is like 40 minutes into landing, dog. I was robbed so much of like enjoying my life as a kid because of some of my choices. And I think that's why I made a project that said to niggas, that's why my eyes impure from blood and gold. That line, dog, maybe people think it's like some high-end art shit. It's like, nah, man, not being happy as a kid because I came from a mid family. I think mid is one of the most dangerous ones in terms of finance because you're so close to like real poverty.
A paycheck away.
You're very scared of it, you know? So you'll do anything never to see that because now maybe it looks like what a frat would have seen. Where it's like, but my man's isn't brown and my man's knows how to speak English. But it's like, shout out to my mother, man. She worked so hard on making me that person. But if you see some of my siblings and you hear like how some of them spoke English or you just understand like our way of life at home, you would understand that's also why it's so thoroughly Maglera that you can't get when you are when you're living what do you call a life more protecting 1 hour when
sheltered life.
Yes. One taller. My family was too busy to shelter us. Everyone's at work. One taller. Even when our traumas are happening, my mom doesn't have time to see that this happened to me when she comes back from work. She just hopes the house is clean and whatnot. And in between all of this trapping, that's what we're doing. One tall. Then we get to the elephant in the room in terms of like, when I was like, I need to remember the stillness. It's one of my OG's kid's birthday. And he's like, yo, man, you know, I never asked you to, like, come be my, like, rapper little homie. It's the kid's birthday, and, yeah, we're going to host in the trenches, you know. They're hosting in the same side of my hood where, quote-unquote, you know, because I don't want Zola to think I'm disrespecting him when I speak about this moment. But the way they speak about it in my hood, they say Zola got checked when you got to that section, because that's also a section where, like, the old school way of gangsterism is very much still the purest. One tall. So because I didn't say it was like trenches for real. It's that area I was talking about. Where I was like, that area I could have never went into around Tetris bricks times, around certain records and certain pictures and certain affiliations times, because two things were happening. One, the people I was with, ke chomi tsaka tsa ditsotsi ke gobala da mo di pictures tsa bona le nna ke etsa di sign tsa bona. One taller. I'm very much affiliated. I very much subscribe to whatever they say they subscribe to in terms of that side of South Africa's street culture. One taller. And I say this now because even the wording about that, I always want people to understand that Maglera Doe Boy knows too many hard people to need to be hard. One tall. Maglera Doe Boy's seen way too many people die for me to ever want to act like I want to encourage any kid in South Africa to Black kids can be strong without having to attach it to certain things. The more I grew is the more I was like, this is what I was always trying to say, but I was so mad when I was trying to say it, I couldn't say it. So Grotmane re zwakala da. Shapela Grotmane round da. Tswere toy for Ngozi, ditlapile, obvious wa itse. Because I'm also acknowledging the moment. I'm acknowledging. This is, I hate saying it, but this is like maybe Jan last year.
Oh, okay, fine.
Or late the year before festive season going into
2021.
Yeah, going into 2022.
22, yeah.
You know? And I don't know what happened, dog. I think it was just one of those times where like maybe something could have happened in terms of like work or just having internal stuff at home or whatever, but something just said to me, it didn't say to me, relax, because you're in this path that you've been fighting for so much and whatnot. And big homie just said, yo, shout outs for coming through. I fucking love you. Damn, man, I wish you could take this thing and just set it off. You know? I was like, damn, when last? $1. And it when last did I shoot a gun in public? That was the first time I ever did that. Niggas were always, whether it's hot or cold, you don't ask, you just put it away, because that's OG. And next day, if the stick-up kids are taking our drugs or whatever, those are the people who are there to protect us. But now, in that moment, it's like, Shabu. The only times Maglera Doe Boy has ever shot a gun, dog, was when those friends of mine would take us to like open fields and stuff. I've never been to a shooting range. It was the Baby Browns. It was the standard cop gun that niggas saw in that picture of mine, the black and white picture. Where I was holding the gun directly to the camera. Z took that picture. That was like a real day where like, on that day, the guy I was working with, and that time we were working in the trenches, not of my hood, it's actually le area e wanyi mo ne re vaya re noile re lo re ka mqombothi re tlo mixa le custard, because the man when I tseba phamalat ke ga a put me on a re lo lata phamalat mare he bamba this one and that's how that picture happened. It's the same day I shot the cover for Progression, crazy enough. That was the same day, because after we shot the cover, Z put the camera away and we got lit and belligerent. So now, when this moment is happening, after I've gifted the kid the doll and stuff, and OG's like, yeah, man, just take this thing, set it off, you know? He takes it out. Yeah. That excitement that used to happen when I was an aspiring D-boy at home, it just came over me again. We're like, oh shit. And it's like, I've never seen one like this. That gun was so small, dog. I was so intrigued by its design. And then he was like, yeah, we have to put the bullet in. Then you blink. That is the realization that this is not Stillness because the Stillness is so gets a hard. Until the Stillness is so diamo to look at woman and I'm like, I don't want to do it at the birthday party. That's what I said I don't want to do, because also there were people who know my mother and whatnot. And no one from home knows the story except for whoever saw me do this thing in the places I'm about to tell you guys I did. And my friend who was with me that day, because he's like a real street dude, but he didn't even want to do that, you know? But now in that moment, I'm not seeing like, damn, bro, you're like this Maglera now, you know? You're this guy and you are forgetting your stillness because of bravado or what is it? One to always like, no kid in my hood needs to see me shoot a gun in public at all. You feel me?
It's not necessary.
But I take this thing and me and this guy like, let's go to this space instead, because it has some people that once in my life I never liked. One tall, we went there, I cocked that thing, I said, wah! One tall, I said, nah, let me do it one more time. We'll go to another side. Dog, we did this thing, komabitleng kukasi. Mabitla la na le significance ba jong ntho tse re tsong di bona ko kitchen. One tall, hona le time mo ngana e made I'm sure that old man was so scared. Like malita ba etsang. Ke ma 12:30. 1
in the day.
Yeah. 1:12. That's the first one.
Man, I ain't gonna cap, man. This shit is like, yo, it's half, man. Like, I'd say let's move on, man. Like, yo.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I'm
scared
heavy,
we're
yo.
learning how to tape.
Hardy, man. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
yo, man.
And like, it's just one of those ones like, you know, when we talk about that rawness Kito was talking about, it was just that real for me to say, yo, man, this thing that God has given me, this thing I need to speak about.
Yeah.
That was happening while I was finishing Diaspora. And how that album closes and that pureness you're hearing was just me saying, yo, this thing also needs practice, the stillness and whatnot, you know. But I'll cap it there. But I'm just saying, like, yo,
man.
it's getting crazy.
Damn.
You feel me?
Fuck.
Man.
You came out
crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yo, that's 3 hours, dog. We talked 3 hours.
Like,
yo.
I ain't even gonna lie, man. Like as you're saying this, man, your storytelling ability, even in this, came out at some point. Just the way you told this whole thing, like the way you like remember this. I'm gonna bring it up later.
Yeah.
Just for me, just like
To give you context also of like, when Fred sees me and he's happy, I'm wearing Burberry and I speak fashion and like, I love my friends who've always loved peace for me because I didn't see it when I was in my chaos. And that stillness we're talking about, it hit me when I got to my mother's house if I'm rapping about that moment because I know the darkness and the heaviness of it is what makes you say, yo, it's crazy. But South Africans mustn't forget it's that crazy.
Yeah.
We are a week after losing a superstar because there's a kid who's just like how I was, but no one is gonna stop him. 112. I went to my mother's house, I walked into the living room, and the first person to come to me was my nephew, my sister's kid. He's the one who speaks on the Sun song. Do you know how much I was so mad, dog? Because I smelled like gunpowder at my mother's house with this gospel play. And that's what we're talking about. 112.
Cushion Corinthians,
Christian
boy.
Corinthians. That's
Exactly.
the bar, man.
Boy.
You feel me? And then you know what I did after? Ha ke hlapa matsoho nje. Hlapa matsoho ka lekgala. 112. Because next time that reminder ya hore had I not like escaped in bits and pieces,
You need
I would have never been able to have a conversation with some of my friends who are like, but why, Larry? And I can tell them and they can say, but you're capping here, you like this, and you do this, you know?
Yo.
Before we run out of tape, man, let's just bring it back to the music a
To the
bit.
music, yeah, for real.
Yeah.
man.
Over there,
Diaspora
so-
is out. I don't know how much tape we have left, but
Yeah.
Diaspora is out.
Doing
And
his
then
thing.
What's the move now? What's
Diaspora is
next?
out. We're continuing the series. When we met Maglera Doe Boy on 2Player, his name was Count Trappy the First, aka Brix the Blogo Tratas Koka. Super Saiyan Tanga Broly. That was me existing in all that alternative stuff I saw because of going to these parties and being in different ethnic groups while I'm finding my sound. And Diaspora is just me coming back to hip hop fully, but saying these are the elements that I feel like are like fully hip hop for me now.
Yeah.
You know, because we've had now hip hop infused with opera. When you think Watch the Throne, Trippie Redd, and a lot of this music now that's like very, you know, classical, but it's like very, like that dark side of hip hop that became very, very high end still. One taller. So I'm just continuing the story. And in Diaspora, I was Tukelo, you know? I was talking about the mistakes of Tukelo. I was talking about the pains of Tukelo. I was talking about the love life of Tukelo. And I was talking about Tukelo trying to find God.
Yeah.
Which like is a real thing. Like, I've never tried to find God like when Diaspora was happening. I cannot lie to you guys. I was having moments where I'm at Hallmark House and I'm crying tears out, one man, you know, because I'm just having days of realization. And ho rapela. And like, ho fokotsa.
Botlhoko.
One taller. And ho fa modimo ntho tse ding. One taller and ho fa le bonkgono ba ka le bontatomolo ba ka ba hlokafetseng. That album saved my life. I think had I made another 2Player, had I tried making another hard project, I don't know. Because I'm there, you know?
Yeah.
No one can say this guy wasn't at home as much as possible on the ground when he was talking about how home is happening. If we're talking sacrifice, I always dive into my projects. Wantola. So when I wanted to make a project about how unsafe and how grimy home was, I was in it fully.
Yeah.
I was sleeping at the bandos. I was with my friends who were partaking in these things. I was doing these things. And then I got lost in its source. I got lost in its source. And when I was making Diaspora, I started coming back down. Yes. You know, and then when I was making Diaspora, I was coming back to my stillness of remembering this is the kid I always wanted to be before my traumas made me like this. One taller. And then I had that small moment that just became a very long moment now on camera because I need you guys to understand some of my family members, it's going to be the first time they even understand, like, so including the conversation about the drugs. My mother only knows my drug stories now. My mother be hitting harder dams than him. Like, yo. One tall. So the next project is called Adam's Theory. And Adam's theory is me going back into my conceptual bag. But also I'm very excited for Adam's theory because it's out of my hands. It's where I'm also accepting that big art needs a big amount of people. And when I say big, I'm saying looking past my story alone now, making it about everyone and for all of us now. Someone who has that conversation with me a lot, shout outs to him for his consistency with it, because it's easy who give up. It's Zuchi, you know? Zuchi's like, Larry, it's time for you to grow this thing and we need to be involved, you know? So Adam's theory right now is very much South African infused sounds more, but it's still me in terms of my subject matter. But it's also very fun, man.
I wish fun for you, man.
Yeah, dog, I don't want to lie. Like, life is so fun right now.
I wish fun for you, man. Nothing more.
Fun
like,
and I get it, dog.
Yeah,
it's like
I wish fun for you, dog.
I want the fun and softness, man.
Some ghetto songs that we can't
Soft
rap
life.
on the song, but you know, and you've seen it already. But I wish fun for you, man. Like, I ain't gonna cap, man. Like, this heaviness, shit doesn't... I absorb things like that. I have my own things, like, so I don't want any of these things, like this heaviness. And also, that's not to say people must not tell their own stories.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would we have the sobering, you know?
I speak like this here because you guys are a reminder of the stillness for me. You feel me?
Okay.
I speak it because there's certain platforms where I'll tell them the base level story of Maglera Doe Boy. But when I'm next to Kabelo, Kito, and you, there's a certain level of friendship also that we have where you guys must understand. Other platforms wouldn't know when to tell me, yo, it's heavy, dog. One tall. But also other platforms wouldn't understand my pain. The way Fred knows, like right now, how many moments I was talking about right now that I could have teared up about if I was still in my denial. And whatnot. But like also, I need to say it like this at least one more time, just in case after this thing, I'm too far from the stillness and for the people, you know? What if my next life, what if after this project drops, I'm living so soft that I don't want to speak about the heaviness anymore.
Can't wait for that shit, man.
I wish that for you though.
Yeah,
I wish that.
I can't wait for that shit. Like, yo, man.
Real.
Yo,
I also, but like I like the maturity in, because this is the same subject matter as the first interview, but in a matured way. It's got more direction.
It's got more direction. It's almost
intention.
like you've acknowledged other people and where they come from. Because before you were quite stern in your ways and you were just like, this is how things are and whatever. Now it looks like you've tapped into other people's spaces and realized that we don't have the same ideologies.
And there's a certain thing that travel gives you. And when I say travel, I don't mean just going to the States and what, but just seeing other things. You know
exposure.
What I'm saying? You see other different sorts of people and you understand different stories even better. And then when you juxtapose it with yourself, it gives you a point of reference that's like, you know.
That's very true, man.
I mean, as much as getting out of your hood, and then even bigger, like just when you see different people doing different things. And like for wherever you're from and like and you see somebody wearing
I say baby refaela shoes. Go to get polo, ngaza designer. Ba to blela ringe ke bukae, ba to blela sale ke bukae. Mara nka be ke sa khona o iketsa. I wouldn't be able to do the things I like so much and make them fly for the kids who grew up around it. This is what we grew up around at home. One taller. We grew up with the bootleg Burberry monogram. I know niggas know it.
Yeah,
we all
definitely.
do. The uncles go crazy with it even now at the funerals.
What's about umbrella baby?
And the polo socks. You know, and the moccasin and the Krugers, you know, and the Kruger ring. And even being able to like go look up at the silver no. But I was seeing, you know, some nigga called my grill a mouth guard. You are uncultured.
Why must they uncultured? You gotta teach.
Hey,
But I like that mouth guard, nigga. I'm in war.
What is it though?
It's the charcoal. What is it?
It's silver.
Is it coated silver?
Yes, and then we coated it with black glass on the top, but that's safe for human consumption.
Oh, okay.
Come on now.
I might put some stones on it, I don't know. But Adam's theory is a continuation of the series that I think the last time I spoke to you guys, I called it the God Mob series. But you know, ideas grow and they become other things. But now the series is a part of the Diaspora story, you know?
I like that.
Where after we speak about me and sitting still, after all that sitting still, I can say I somewhat blew up. So Project AK, Nano. And it's Adam's theory also because I speak more about my relation with women than ever in my life. Because now I'm going on dates in different places. I'm with people for amounts of time that are fun because I don't have those stresses I used to have. So I can actually listen to someone when they speak. You know, that maturity and empathy that Kitso speaks about, I couldn't do that when all I wanted was to just be fly. You know, I feel like I'm living in the fly I want right now. So Adam's theory is about like the first designer pieces I got after I sang about Moqwebo, designer. Adam's theory is about how none of my pieces are cubic zirconia, you know, because I also want to establish just a culture of being as real as possible in hip hop. When we speak about jewelry and stuff, the more fake it is, the more fake it will become, you know? So I think as much as we don't want to speak about it in a way that
cubic
makes...
zirconia, it's not a real diamond.
Fake diamonds.
Those
zirconias.
That's why I'm out to diamond chest. Ke tlo rekela Frete da ideng because Frete ke yena mo Mzansi o nang le moral compass. Ya hore ha o tlile mo sobaring, if you said my eyes said it. You know? I get away, we're all fashionistas.
Yeah.
We can say, yo, let me check out that eye.
Fashionista.
Let me check out that eyes.
The jewelry, costume jewelry.
Costume.
Costume. There's custom and there's costume.
And Adam's theory is
we always
also
got
just...
into a fight for that.
We can't rap on the song.
Let's not rap those on these songs.
I don't know the story, so
No,
don't
tell you
that
after.
one. But it's such a happy time in my life, man.
Yes, beautiful.
For me to wake up this morning, go get my hair cut, say, that's why Fred black and white. What's about it? I came here to say to the black kid who watched my sobering before this one, I healed so much, man. You know? Some of the stuff I was telling you guys about, I was definitely moving in the right direction. You know, there is a lot of peace in moving in the direction of peace. VS trying to headbutt your problems.
Yeah.
One taller. And I also want to say my palette grew, and wanting to find peace and wanting to find God made me find so much in myself. You know, and I'm not the most religious person, Pops. I am my father's child. We have been around so many spaces. Like, I understand Islamic culture, I understand Hindu culture, I understand African spirituality because I was raised around it. And let me just say those three ones being like some of the biggest ones in South Africa. One taller, being in all those spaces and going back to home, going back to a point where like, when I lean into the traditional, because of who I am now as a person and as the beacon of light I've became, even at my house, where like my baby cousins and so many people at home believe because I'm the point of reference.
You're him.
Like la upola na go tukela tshwariswa da khamo kwatetse la upola na go re ngwala la tukelo mangolo re tshumisa o di atla mo di paka di gusheshe tsa bona tsa lona di etswa mo pelantlo le Tabenix.
Oh, ngwala mangwalo, where are you? Why do they have to send letters?
No, my mom's had a style of when we broke her heart, she would write a letter and leave it like on the table, or she would leave it where we can all read it one time. Or where you can read it if you're the person in question. Because she used to work so much, she didn't have time. And when she'd come back, she'd be so tired. Sometimes she didn't have it in her to like fight one taller. So she'd write these letters. And there was a time when my older sister, her and my older sister had their differences. And my sister wrote in the letter, Olwana le gona ka 1 2 3 magatokelo yena yo. damn man, ntho tse ba di etsang, ntho tse ke di story tse ke di utlwang ka di mane le tshweng tsa go toropong batho ba tsamayang le bona wa nthola. And God bless, dog. Some of those boys are around me still now, but their lives have changed. It's so dope when they're at my house and my mom's wants someone to fix something and I'm not around. And I'm like, hey, Joe, boy, go nada fella. To se magrizena tole 1, 2, 3, 1 tola. Kapa baba ki khona go batsaya be ke batlisa go Cotton Fest. Be ke bolela le mona re mfetho. Ba bona no khona tla mo Jozi ha o gallo tlo dula le nna ka yi. Because happy I miss my friends at home when I'm in Joburg, man.
Yeah.
That's another thing that really sucked. If I'm gonna tell you guys something on the side, being Maglera alone in Joburg isn't fun, man. People came here with their posses. They came here with people from their hoods, you know? So it's also nice being able to do that. And Adam's theory is just like my stories about after all the bad stuff. You know? The girl I dated who might have rocked me because she was in love with a gangster and stuff. But it was also nice when we were each other's solace. Like I used to date this one Han, different nationality than us, you know? Very much going towards the European side of things. And she was like, she used to do that thing of going to the club, spiking old men and giving a collective of people those guys' keys. We're the same person. We're making the same mistakes. I'm just doing them in terms of like,
sheesh.
Street culture.
Another damn for you.
One time.
Come on.
Another damn.
Oh my God, did you kill her? Like, I'm so scared. This guy woke up and we thought the drugs worked, but they didn't. So he beat us up. And he has our cars and our phones. And I'm like, Nagidi kena guy. I'm like getting study drugs. Feel like it's a those stories now become more like, yo, we're going through the same problems.
I mean, in all honesty, now, I think by now everybody knows like gangster rap, like that's much. But I just feel like this is
because it's too close to home.
Too close to home. There's no beat behind. There's no ad-libs.
It's not fun when it's real.
It's not fun when it's
It's not fun when it's real.
Exactly.
I was watching you guys talking to Tato, and I loved how Tato was like, yo, Maglera will be with me in the car, and I'll tell him 1, 2, 3. And I be like, I get it, but damn, dog, you're Bodessa right now.
Yeah.
You feel me? You're like, Tato came after all of us now, and he came through so hard. People love you so much. Mad love to Mautiba, ba hlola ke ba bona ba vale Tato ka ba bang ke ba tseba like na lo bua le bona mo phone via Instagram ke le live le Tato kapa like mo phone like mo video call. There's a homie obviously loves me so much. Montoli is always like, yo, Pops, you should pull up, you should come chill, you know? So when I see the boys, I can see like how much he loves his friends.
Yeah.
Montola. But like one of the craziest things my friends from the hood told me now is just because you love us doesn't mean you need to be with us at all times.
Yeah.
You know, everyone is going through their own. Everyone is going through their thing.
Yeah. But you've been practicing that, you know. I know all of the stories are reflective. It's just that they're so.
This one with
they're
the
so
gun was
heavy.
just like the most recent one that I was like, damn,
and the more mindless one.
I almost like, yeah.
It was a heavy one.
Fred and Aguadil, I think I told you like as soon as it happened, like 1 or 2 days later.
So we're not about Buchaloche all this time. Like,
I know all of these things.
So that's why I started being there, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the
Oh, you put your dams in. You put your dams in.
It's the conversation.
Here's when you got his dams. Here's when you know the frat head shake also there. Then he hits them. Then he's gonna ask, Marie, want all? But right now, dog, if we're talking like where we at in terms of palette, Adam's theory, very intentionally fun. Shout outs to the boys who are currently shifting the culture. A lot of them are in it. Anyone you see next to me is in it. One teaser I will give to you guys is me and Stana have a crazy one.
Yeah.
So
You already
I
know
like that you have
about
it with
that.
Stana, but don't cut Diaspora short.
No, I haven't. Diaspora is still happening. I just shot. Okay, another one I'll give you guys now is I did the short film that I've always wanted to do in Mozambique with 25.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And how you and 25 move is beautiful, man. That picture of you guys at the Summers, man.
Please.
It's like,
please. Dog.
and again, it was like you guys showed up, man. I love the fact that you guys showed up. You respected the occasion, and that's what I'm talking about. That's that mega energy, though.
We didn't even chat about championship music too.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's skim through these ones quickly.
Yeah.
Because the Stillness, I won't lie, Chance. If there's ever been a platform where I can speak about it like this, this was gonna be the one.
It makes sense.
No disrespect to everyone else, but more like you guys are my friends in what's focal point. One all, what's intention. Yeah. So me and 25 went to Mars, and obviously we went there to go shoot Running Off the Bulls, which also, if we're talking something very special in the culture, Fred's also featured on that song. He's the hater on that song. For anyone who doesn't know, the guy who's saying Nagi Mutli Maglera, Italy, Efapanele, Portugal, you know? And the Portugal reference is because of Poch being next to Maglera.
Yeah.
And the knowledge of how much Poch is influential to Maglera because they're more of like our richer, if we're talking Kosh, which is the area of the Northwest I'm from, they're the bigger one in terms of finance and business and whatnot. But me and 25 went there to shoot Running Off the Bulls, and we went there and shot with Lenzo, you know, which is also just a crazy one.
Shout out
behind
Lenzo.
the lens.
Shout out
you
Lenzo.
know?
I'm sorry, man. We had to leave the Nets, B. We had to leave the Nets, man.
You had to what?
Basketball.
Yeah, he knows.
Oh, you rocked Lenzo?
No. Never favor la Nets again.
Yeah.
Oh, Bali too.
Yeah.
I get about KD.
We had to leave
My
the
favorite
Nets,
team,
man.
my favorite about
We had to leave the Nets.
Kile Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, but
Lena kile Lionel Messi.
So favor Al Nassr now.
Na actually diski man. Na actually diski. I'm not actually bang malangin.
shout out Lenzo. though.
Fashion TV style. Boy. Mwana kono maloba ne kshibile chick flick idali ngwana umuntu jwanja. Niki enjoy jwanda iding. Initially chick flick man, na kshibile like ati ngwe bkhoko jwang ka medio mong ke vata ka mesi. Dimano o rata ngwana ma go rata gold ngwana melwa e wentswe ka gold. So kwa mo haga ontsha gold ma ga understand kwa mo bolaya. Yo. Babo. Mona ati winter.
Oh no, I've seen that shit. That's on Netflix.
It's on Love What and Robots.
In Robots, yeah. I love that episode, bro.
I'm enjoying finally going back into the stuff this kid used to do before those big moments that made this kid hurt.
That.
One all, and cartoons was one of them. And shooting content and fashion was, you know, I'm like,
Oh, that episode was hard though.
it's full circle with me, Doug. Like it's to a point where like,
Love that, man.
there's no side of me you can test. Hey, are you a high-end artist? Come on. Hey, are you from the township? Come on. Hey, are you a cultured man in terms of the palette of South Africa? Come on. One tall. Hey, is your jewelry real? Some belief. Come on. One tall. And those are all the things that I want to teach the kid now. The thing with jewelry, I know we always talk about how people shouldn't be superficial. But you hear champion music is the first time I'm really flexing. Maglera Doe Boy was never flexing before.
You know the funniest thing about champion music is watching Slick's TikToks, right?
Yeah.
And then it's you rapping, but it's without the beat.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, yo, man, so this is what it sounds like without the beat. Like the weirdness of it, the unorthodox vibe. And you hear him
switch-ups as well.
The switch-ups, and that the switch-ups aren't digital.
Yeah.
Yes.
That he's doing
They're like,
that.
oh shit, he did that in one
the
take.
voice and the voice switch that when it goes to first part. Hey, my pa. It's crazy. Yo. It's beautiful, man. It's
And how did you
beautiful.
guys feel about champion music?
I loved it.
It's nice, yeah.
I loved it.
I'm so happy because the second one happened at a good time. People finally went back to the first one. People forget champion music dropped in COVID. A lot of people weren't even in a music space, you know? The second one also was just more fun.
I like that. The first one, you guys didn't shoot visuals for it, no? Did you?
We shot for...
The Zinger joint.
Yes, and... Was it just the Zinger joint?
I think it might have just been the Zinger joint.
Budget,
Yeah, Marie Wabona happy. There's upperness as well.
There's upperness.
And I like that
And
now.
there's
it's like,
videos we pick who directs.
it's dope, man. It's like now there's also two juggernauts now. Like, you know, it's like, these are the guys that you guys we looking at like as the face of hip hop. No pressure.
Yeah.
Right now,
all pressure.
It's like you know they.
And if we're gonna talk about that, I love being a part of the posse cut that is the obvious posse cut now. Like it's not a shock for a kid to get a Blackie and a Maglera on the same record. Like Flo Jones just dropped Promise featuring me and Blackie.
And even the joint on Mesh Beats, the one with the video.
It's bad. Yeah, with Kid and Flo, you know, and that's just me still wanting to immerse myself in the culture, man. I still like having fun with my peers, my OGs, and whoever's coming next. I think in terms of positioning, I really like being where I'm at. I like being, if you really want that stellar verse too, just go easy. You know, if you want a high-end curation in terms of intention with records, because there are some records that maybe in the future I'll have the confidence to say I directly added to this element on this song. But I'm really enjoying that part of my life, like just curating and adding to some people's source and having people saying, yeah, it's cool. I'll give you the club record. I want you to give me that Louvre high-end glizzy shit so I can have it in my thing. That's the ecosystem we want, you know? Because I think like the hit record, I don't want to say it's an easy thing to do because it's like I'd be disrespecting people who've made those. But I think I have access to the people who can give me the song that will do what people want from me in terms of we want to have fun with Maglera. And that's the choice of saying right now, this is literally a choice that I'm not just making like in the past few days, but the person in question has said to me, you need to come to me so we make this music bigger. And Zoo has said that, Slick has said that. And not a lot of people can say that to me because some people aren't good at getting that out of me. You know, making me put my ego to the side and saying, yeah, Maglera, we don't care if you want to make 1 million Mona Lisas.
Yeah.
Come on, dog. Can you give us like... What happens when Maglera isn't thinking about his memoirs, you know? And I love the boys for that. So I'm excited for that. But then the one I'm really excited for right now, outside of those two projects that I just spoke about, Diaspora is still gonna have his run. We're letting Tordupovu go now. We dropped the Sun song last week unconventionally with Channel O first. But I was even trying to delay that release because of Mega passing away. You know, I felt like it would have been so corny for me to drop a song that's close to the heart in a close to the heart moment in SA. So I just let TV play it, but I didn't push any promo. I don't want to, I don't want to be a
Feel
right.
respect, yeah.
Yes, you know, so next week we're about to like officially drop the Sun song on YouTube and just give it to the game. I shot the Sun song in Kwalanga. A special one about that one is...
Sun song, Kwalanga.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And that's crazy. I didn't even notice that one. That's God speaking.
It was intentional.
I'm very proud of that joint.
Yeah.
In terms of some of the gems I've heard from you. I shot the Sun song with black men who have been through some of the stuff that I feel like when we don't try heal, we go through that. You know, some of the men in that video with me have done like 10 to like 12 years in the prisons in Cape Town, which we all know are very influential in terms of South Africa's street culture. Some of those men are your day-to-day South African who just has his own stresses, own traumas. And I was like, I want to have a day with the homies where I sing about how we were raised well, but we were hurt so much by the hood. But like, this is how it feels like when we're not thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
You know, it's a fun day in Langa with a group of men and their sons, dog. It's so dope. Like,
It's a
I'm
beautiful,
singing in front of
beautiful.
them instead of
It's a beautiful
us trying
video.
to go back to that thing of being hard. And Tordupovu goes back to communicating the people's pain. When I'm in Mozambique, when you guys see Povu, you're going to see where the people are at, you know?
Oh, you shot Tordupovu in Moz.
I shot Tordupovu and running off the balls in Mozambique.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
And the textures are different. You know, I don't want to give too much, but yeah.
That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Proud of you, bro.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
doing
man.
amazing.
It's been a lengthy one. As you can see, the Rakas is starting even
Yeah.
outside.
But it's amazing, man.
Here.
Just as a parting note, it's a beautiful lane that you've carved for yourself.
For sure.
You know, incorporating all of your artistic visions in everything that you do is like a beautiful mixture of the streetness as well. and the fact that you move in with the executioners as well. The
For sure.
performance art of it, which is the band that he has.
For sure.
With
Shout
Pageism.
outs for also just throwing them in there.
Yeah, no, it's very important because your live show is something that you take very serious, and that's not a lot of people that do that, you know?
For sure.
I know that it takes so much time, it takes so much practice,
For sure.
it takes so much attention to detail to reinterpret some of those sounds.
For sure.
And like, it's like I'm saying, it's like it's a proud moment to see.
And
So-
it's growing, man. I'm so happy that you're one of the people who was actually there even when I was patterning it from like the smallest element, where like I'm still growing the executioners. It's the band with the boys, like Frat saying, but it's like mixing all of that, all of those experiences. My drummer doesn't play drums with a stick. He's a digital drummer, and he's from Malawi, big OG in Malawi in terms of this. The music in Malawi.
Shout out to Malawi.
Yeah, please shout out to my boys in
That's
M-Dub.
Africa.
You know, my keyboardist is also my engineer, ESM Beats. He's from the Free State, very tight. One of my backing vocalists and head musical director in terms of the execution is my OG Cageism from Morafe, and that's just a beautiful thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
I started my set at Cotton Fest as KG's backup singer. We didn't start with the Maglera Doe Boy song. I was actually on bass. I was ooh. While he was singing, I was with Miss Reddy, who's also a part of the collective. And it was also so fly just to start bringing in those elements of like, we might do a play, man. You know?
I see it happening.
We might do musicals. We might do stuff that just communicates our stories different and also bring them into the now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to make it too serious, too conventional. I get serious when I talk about black people because that one always needs a standstill.
Oh.
I will never try humorize that or no, it's a pill that I didn't get with sweets in it. One tola kifiwe straight so one tola.
Guys,
Niggas must remember I was raised by a cop and an army and an uncle from the army. I can't say his designation because it's changed so many times. But it's like I was raised by those type of people. A father who stole cattle and learned how to become a teacher at the cusp of racism in PTA, and a mother who the whole time was always just trying to have me live in the simplest of lives. So she gave me the heart that made me so empathetic for people. That collection makes for the African that I am. One to all, it makes for the message that I tell. So Adam's Theory, Maglera Tapes. Maglera Tapes, yo, so much fun, dog. So much fun. Yanga's on the Maglera Tapes. I've got Blackie on Boom Bap.
I like that, man. Blackie be rapping his butt off, even on the Pretty Ugly joint, you know?
Yeah.
He's fire. He's fire.
Link up with air when it happens. Like when you take a folk and you put them on Maglera Party and it happens. Maglera House Party and it happens. Or you take a Blackie and with Blackie it's by choice. He says, let's do this one. It's unexpected. I haven't even laced, dog. It's just him so far. He's going so crazy. Wow, you know?
Can't wait,
maybe
man.
some collab tapes with the boys, you know?
Just
Maybe
keep it
some
coming,
collab
man.
tapes with the boys.
Just
Me and
keep
Slick-
working, man.
Me and Slick have one, we call it dog food. That's what I call that sound when I go there like that. Doe Boy, you know, I think that's what I want to call it.
Dog food.
Yeah, especially like Kopaneli Sleep.
Dog more.
Yeah, man.
Pedigree.
Crazy fact, I've had dog food with milk. It's going to be heavy for Mukhetwa also.
Shout out to my moms, we out.
Love, yo.
Yo, this is Maglera Doe Boy, and this is Sobering Podcast. Shout outs to my cousins.
Yo, we're there.
I think I'm gonna say God is the greatest. We were made in His image, therefore we are. Please don't forget to sit still. It's a crazy time in the world right now. Deuces.
Tapelo.